Welcome, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting of the Tuesday, August 20th, 2024 meeting of the Barnstable Historical Commission to order. Acting under the provisions of the Code of the Town of Barnstable, subchapter 112.1 through 112.7, the Historical Commission will hold a public hearing on the following applications. The following applications have been determined significant and were referred to a public hearing. This meeting of the Historical Commission is being recorded and broadcast on the Town Barnstable Government Access Channel. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20, I must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, to please make their presence known. Any recordings? Seeing none. Thank you. We ask that during the afternoon's proceedings, cell phones be turned off and conversations other than those before the commission take place outside the room. And you're welcome to close the door if you need to step out to confer, and that's fine. When an application is called, please come to the table and sign in on the sign-in sheet here. All interested parties and abutters should also come forward at that time. And all people who wish to speak regarding the application are asked to please sign in. Our first order of business is to take a roll call for attendance. Nancy Shoemaker?
Here.
Jack Kay?
Here.
Barbara DiBiase?
Here.
Bob Frazee? Here. And we are expecting one other who will be here in a few moments. Do you want me to say something first and then you?
I can. Okay. First, before we get to our applications, we'd like to recognize two of our commissioners who passed away last month. Marilyn Fifield, although she was a quiet member on our commission, she was always very impactful, very resourceful, and she was always so very kind and helped me edit our minutes. And I will miss corresponding with her deeply. And our second member, our architect, George Jessup, who was opposite in the Maryland, where he was a talker. He loved to talk, but he was so vastly knowledgeable in his expertise, as well as he always had something to help an applicant too. He always had suggestions. Either it was saving costs or making something look better or anything. He was always willing to lend a hand for our applicants. Both had been on this commission for years. Marilyn since 1996 and George since 2009. So they're going to be deeply missed. I don't know if any of the other commissioners would like to say a few words.
Nancy, do you want to say something?
So many of them that I would have said, and I'm happy to hear them from you.
Yeah.
Means a lot.
I feel the same way. I will never forget long conversations in the parking lot with George, usually about his Mustang and architecture. But Erica rightly remembered him for his helpful attitude with applicants and everyone on the commission.
Sure.
And I think it was one of the turning points in my understanding of how this commission could work well with the public and with residents, to not have an adversarial relationship with any of you, but to try and work together with you so there's a common understanding of the goals and objectives that we hopefully share. And I remember him for that, and I'll do our best to honor him for that. Marilyn Fifield, I've known for almost 40 years. I knew her when she was still a planner for the county commission. And for her quiet demeanor, you would never gauge her passion. Her passion was as intense as any preservationist I've ever met, and I've met some real nightclub bouncers. So hats off to both of them. Could we maybe have just a moment of silence in remembrance of them? Oh, please do.
Yeah.
She was also very instrumental with Betty Nielsen and I in getting the train depot to
Yes.
the National Railway Historical Society.
That's correct.
Very passionate about that.
Moment and keep them in a... Nancy, we need your mic near you. Do you want to repeat yourself, Nancy?
Oh, okay. I just have to add that Marilyn was very passionate about something else, and that was the history of our train depot and trains in general. She was very involved in the National Railway Historical Society and our depot in West Barnstable.
Let's just pause for a moment and think of them if we could, and we'll move on.
Apologies for being late. Hopefully you got the message that I might be 5 minutes late. Okay.
So, I'm glad to have you here. So, I should read the applications as they go, is that correct? Okay. First one on our agenda is Linda Woodwell, 9 Lafayette Avenue, Hyannisport, map 287, parcel 043, built 1930, a dwelling, and 1800 tower. Partial demolition, demo existing sunroom, lift house, and replace foundation, replace foundation under tower, demo stairs on the tower, demo roof and second floor partitions on the main house to connect house to tower. Change all windows in both structures. And this gentleman,
Gordon Clark.
I thought so. We met like 30 years ago. Sorry, Gordon. Welcome.
Thank you. I too am very sorry for George's passing.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, I've known him for years. I expected to see him here. Guess I should throw this out.
Screen behind you here, too.
Oh, okay.
No, that's not the right house. We're looking for 9 Lafayette Avenue. That's West Bay Road.
Nope, I had the wrong tab up.
There you go.
Open.
That's still the wrong. There you go.
Hold on. There we go. There's the right one.
Beginning to wonder where we was.
This is the existing house.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you want to move that a little bit
Yeah.
towards you? Perfect.
What we plan to do, would like to do, is to do some major renovations to the house. We want to, according to the records that we have, it was built in, I believe, 1960. So, but it is within the district.
Speak into the microphone, we can't hear you.
The tower is much older.
Excuse me?
Right.
It's in the back.
They can't hear you down there. Could you speak into the
Oh,
microphone?
yeah. The house, based on the records that we have doing our research, says that it was, the house was circa 1960. The tower, I don't have a date on the tower, but the tower is, appears to be much older. I'm sure that's within the 75 years. What we want to do is basically connect the tower to the house, straighten it out so it's parallel with the foundation, put a new foundation underneath the tower, put a new foundation underneath the house, demolish. There is a sunroom on the end of the house. Let's see if we can scroll back to that.
This one?
Yeah, exactly. We want to demo that. That was a fairly recent addition. And we would like to take the roof off and replace the roof, and dormers on the front and the rear. Do we have proposed elevations?
Yeah.
That's showing the areas to be demolished. That's the floor plan, and that's the elevations. So we raised the height of the roof pitch, but we didn't go all the way to a 12-12. We kept it to a 12-11 pitch because I didn't want to, it's a 12-9 now, so we didn't want to vary it a tremendous amount. We wanted to keep it in, have it within, compatible with what was there and the surrounding houses. The addition to the left will be a master bedroom. And let's see, if we go to the floor plan, it's probably easier for me to explain it. Let's see, that's the second floor plan. So, a master suite with a porch to the rear and that the left would be the master bath. It breaks down in similar fashion to what was there before. So the massing is similar. It breaks off to the left. The porch is open to the rear. The rest of the house, the living room, dining room, bedroom, and kitchen will remain as it is. That'll be preserved. Go to the second floor. We're adding 2 bedrooms up there, and we wanted to connect to the tower so that they could have access and a bathroom for the other bedroom that is currently existing in the tower. Right now, you have to climb up a set of stairs to get to that bedroom. Go outside, through the kitchen. It's quite a distance to get to the bathroom. There is a small bathroom on the first floor in the bottom part of the tower. So other than shingling and cosmetic restoration and whatever we have to do as far as insulation, we don't plan to make any changes to the tower other than replace the windows as far as visually. And if you go back to the photographs, you can see that staircase. That was built after the fact. I don't believe that's very historic. That's going to be removed. But everything else will remain pretty much as it is, as you can see in the elevations that we proposed. So if you want to go back to the elevations. That's the connection to the tower. The addition of second floor space for the bathroom over the existing kitchen. Go to the next elevation. Again, dormer on the rear, and that's the open porch. We added a sliding glass door to the rear. There is currently an outdoor shower. We just would rebuild that. Everything will be re-sided, re-roofed, trimmed out in a very similar fashion to what is there now. But all the windows would be replaced. And that's the other side elevation. So with the vegetation and everything that exists there, you probably will hardly even see that porch that's to the rear. Because if you look at the photographs again, you'll see there's quite a bit of vegetation in that we plan to keep. So essentially that's what we propose.
Great.
I can hear John suggesting, George suggesting something.
Well, in a moment,
Okay.
we'll let you channel George if you want to. But
Sure.
First, I'd like to see if we could open a public hearing. Would someone care to move for that?
I'll second it.
Opening a public hearing, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Awesome. We are in a public hearing. Are there any members of the public who would like to speak to this particular application who are here? Anybody's welcome to do that. If you'd like to, come on down and sit beside Gordon and sign in. I don't believe we have any correspondence on this one, do we?
No.
Okay. So I would then entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I will so move.
And a second. Second. Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. Any abstaining? None abstaining. Public hearing is closed. Commissioners, anyone channeling George or otherwise, what would you like to say?
If I would suggest, and I think he would have too, is any chance that the beginning of the third story, sort of the roof of the tower, be not covered up in the front by the existing roof in front of it. 6 inches maybe might do it. Yeah.
Oh, a small adjustment is what you're
Yeah,
saying, not
yeah.
a major.
I'm not sure I understand what
Will work for your clearance
Over in
overhead
the
to get your
right.
walkway through is what I'm
You see,
sure.
the roof of the tower, if it were to start above the line of the roof in front of it, so that you could see the entire roof of the tower.
See, if you go to the side elevation, we're matching the roof pitches. To get it down, we'd have to lower the entire, with front, we actually, you can see the height of the windows. We did lower the front of the roof to try to keep it down as much as we could. So that's really not, if you see the height of the dormer in the front and the height of this dormer here, and if you look at it on the front elevation, we did drop that down. You see so there's low headroom in the front of it as it is right now. If we lower it much more, it'll actually be very difficult to even stand in the front. I mean, from a standpoint, even if we were to lower it on our elevations, and you stand in the road is lower, the house
Oh, I
sits
was there
higher,
today.
you still won't see the roof. Even if you look at the pictures now, I understand what you're saying. Go back to the photographs if you would. So, front.
There you go.
So you can see the tower now from this angle. The tower is actually, we've moved it this way slightly so that it would align with the back. We could at least get the corner of the tower so we could connect to it. But you can see the grade of the street is lower. The house sits up higher. So that's one story there with a 9 pitch. If we raised it, 6 inches, you won't do it. It would have to be 1 story and connect to it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I appreciate Nancy's
Yeah.
question, because I
Yeah,
had
I
thought some of the same
understand what you're
things.
saying.
No, and I
So-
understand what you're saying.
And we tried to keep it as low as we could,
Yeah.
because we figured that, we didn't want this to overwhelm anything. What this does do, though, if you go to the site plan, this is currently, we've been in front of the Board of Appeals, and we did receive
For
approval.
your proximity to lot lines,
Yeah,
things
we-
like that.
We did receive approval from the Board of Appeals. You see where this is the existing site plan. You see where the tower is? It is sitting literally almost on the other lot. If you go to
Saw that.
the proposed site plan, we were able to move it away, so we're less, on both setbacks, we're less non-conforming.
You're parallel to your parent structure now.
And we're
which I guess-
parallel now to the structure, so that was the purpose of doing that. That allowed a little bit more freedom. And if you look at the 3 houses, it shows so much, they just jammed right up against each other. And it's the way it is, but I think this will look aesthetically much better being separated from the other structure, because it's almost touching it.
Any other commissioners? Any of you have comments or thoughts? I thought exactly what Nancy thought, but I also thought I would hear most of what you said. Okay, I'm not surprised. And I don't have any magic wand or ideas. You lose your overhead connector if you drop the roof, which is the only giveaway
She
you
would really like
have.
to have that if she could. because
Understand.
She wants to bring all her family down and,
Yeah.
have them have their own bedrooms and not have to run around the house to go use the bathroom. So
It's probable that there's a common theme for everyone in the room, even waiting to hear from us later. And we're going to keep saying this as a commission. A lot of what we face now are requests to partially or fully demolish things for the cause of, I'm going to use the term volumizing a bit, in order to find more functional living space within existing historic structures that were not built to modern standards or modern expectations. And that's the conversation we all have to be able to have and see where we land when we get there, and try and be friends in the process when we finish. I don't have any strong opinions about this, other than just the comment that Nancy's already shared. So that being,
we wanted to preserve it as much as we could, and then try to meet her request for more serviceable use of space. On the second floor, when you currently stand up there now, the windows are so low, you have to kind of get down like this to look out the windows, and there's just not a lot of headroom. So this would, really serve her function, and hopefully preserve, the character of the house that's there now. Most of the basic house is preserved.
it appears to me that the details that exist, you're either retaining or you're mirroring in your new construction as best you can. So sometimes that's along the lines of the best we can work with.
Yeah, she did not want to lose the character
Right.
of the house.
And I'm puzzled about the dating, and in fact, before the meeting, or before the
I was
hearing, I asked Erica if she could help me chase down if there's a Form B for it or wherever. We didn't find one. And that's puzzling because it is, in some ways, a contributing structure to the National Register districts within the district. It may have been the hook for that was the tower, as we've all ready to acknowledge is certainly the older of the two structures. And you're preserving it, which is nice.
If you look at the house, I know what the dates say. I'm not so sure it was built in 1960.
Well, you've been in it, obviously. Does it read like a house earlier than 1960? You know,
It's on the cusp.
materials is what I'm thinking
Yeah,
of.
materials. It's on the cusp.
Okay.
It does have boarding instead of plywood as far as the floors. You would have seen that. It's sitting on a block foundation.
Okay.
That could have been as far back as the 30s even.
Could. Could be an update even. Who knows?
There's no ridge boards. The rafters meet like an older house's
Yeah.
frame. But there's some other things in there. Now, I know they used a lot of, looks like reproduction hardware. You know, they've got the H&L hinges and
Been
stuff.
oldified.
And she wants to, yeah, oldified it, yeah. So, I mean, it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up on that. The only other thing that, and I'm not sure how you want me to handle that, they wanted to go, and at the time I filed this, we had drawn it with 12 over 12 windows. They would like to change them to 6 over 6s, and I didn't. The plans had already been filed, and they were wondering if we can do that.
We agree we can add it.
If we
to the-
agree, we can add it as an amendment to the application here, right, Erica?
Yes.
You know, and if that's what she would like to do, I would probably recommend doing that.
Yeah.
Do any of the commissioners have any objection to that alteration? I almost agree with it,
Yeah.
because I think if it's not reading as a 1700s or early 1800s full cape, then it probably wouldn't be 12 over 12. Typically, you wouldn't be preserving that early a window structure. You'd be looking more at 6 over 6, which is a little later. And you get a little more easily cleaned windows out of the
And I
result.
think that they may have been trying to get that look or something.
It works as a simple
Yeah.
cape. It doesn't pop out at you, but it works. If we're ready, I think possibly what we should do is ask someone to read a motion and proceed. Are you all right with that? Okay. Somebody willing to? Awesome.
I have a question for you.
Certainly.
When you replace the foundations, are you replacing it over full occupiable basements, or are you putting, what are the foundation?
The foundation that's there right now,
Yeah,
there's a partial crawl space underneath of it. There's a crawl space underneath the kitchen wing, and there's a crawl space under the, where the sunroom was. That was just a partial foundation. The rest of the house does have a full foundation, but it is, you know, I think it may be possibly maybe 7 feet. So it's not as deep as, you know, it's not 7'10".
There's no basketball court under there.
No, and we don't intend for anything like that, so. But it'll be a full foundation under everything that's, you know.
including the tower?
Now, the tower will have a 4-foot foundation. There will be a little access, we've got a little access bulkhead to get under the tower. In case they want. Right now, the tower
Have a little
It has
access for
plumbing.
that, which would be nice, I'm sure.
There's plumbing, just for one small bathroom there, and the other bathroom would be in the house,
Got it.
in that area over the kitchen, so. But yeah, it would be a partial foundation. It's all gonna be poured concrete, though.
All right, thank
So
you.
they'll have to lift the whole structure down, cripple that. So it's a process.
Oh, yeah.
You need a copy? You have a copy?
I have.
You have it, I'm sorry. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
This is regarding Woodell Linda, 9 Lafayette Avenue. in Hyannisport, map 287, parcel 043, built 1930, dwelling and 1800 tower. Partial demolition, demo existing sunroom, lift house, and replace foundation. Lift, move, and replace foundation under tower. Change stairs on the tower. Demo roof and second floor partitions on the main house to connect house to tower. Change all windows in both structures.
And may I introduce that you also please read in amending this to include changing to 6/6 lights
Okay.
in the windows? That would
So-
probably follow, change all windows in
So
both
change all
structures.
windows in both structures from
From
12 by
12
12 to 6 by 6.
Yeah.
I have a question
ma'am.
on the motion. I'm wondering, because you said change stairs on the tower. It says demo on here. Is it?
correct.
It's demo.
I'm sorry, I said change?
Yeah.
Okay,
Just wanted to clarify.
thank you.
Thank you.
Motion 1, I move that after review and consideration of public testimony, the application and associated materials, the significant building 9 Lafayette Avenue in Hyannisport is a preferably preserved significant building.
I'll second that.
Okay?
Moved and seconded. An aye vote will impose an 18-month delay. A nay vote will not impose an 18-month delay. So, roll call. Nancy Shoemaker.
Nay.
Cheryl Powell. Jack Kay.
Nay.
Robert Yasi. Bob Frazee, nay. So we move down to,
If motion 1 fails with a nay vote, I move that in accordance with section 112-3F, the Barnstable Historical Commission determines that the partial demolition of the building located 9 Lafayette Avenue, Hyannisport, is not detrimental to the historical, cultural, and architectural heritage or resources of the town.
I'll second it.
an aye vote determines that the partial demolition of the single-family structure is not detrimental and no demolition will be imposed. Demolition delay will be imposed, excuse me. Nancy?
Aye.
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 Robert? Aye. So,
You're all
you're
set.
good to go. Thank you very much.
On the windows, or did that,
Read in, so it can be converted to 6/6 from the 12/12 in the original. It should be fine. And I'm sure Eric can help you if you have any other,
Okay.
kind of detailed questions.
good to go?
I think it's good to set.
great,
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Nice to see you.
Haynes. Yeah.
All right. Next application, Dorinda Danforth Underwood, 6 Butler Avenue, Centerville, map 226, parcel 020, build 1896. Partial demolition, remove existing foundation and replace with new foundation. Small second floor addition in the east corner. 2 windows to be added on the second floor facing southwest. All new construction to match existing house. Hi.
The answer is, I'm the homeowner.
Yes, thank you.
There's a lot of applications.
And if you can have some other folks that we would just sign in if you want to speak, that's all. That's the only thing that we require.
Jack.
SUMBERA.
Not mine.
Yes, I can sign.
I don't know where ink even came from.
Have a seat and aim yourself at the microphone best you can.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
the
We're all getting used to
air
remembering to do
conditioning
that.
is very
We're
noisy.
trying to.
Drowning a lot of it out.
Can you
can't
hear?
it.
Do you want me to?
No,
No,
I'm
that's all
sorry.
right.
You're good.
Okay.
So, this is a existing house at 6 Butler Ave.
Both of the,
Okay.
yeah.
In,
Might pull closer
Our
to you,
AC
too.
is
I'm not sure.
bugging us all.
No guarantee.
in
No.
Centerville, built in 1896. And the house is in desperate need of foundation. And there is a small, kind of a Cape Cod cellar. So brick foundation, but the rest of it doesn't have really perimeter foundation. It's just sitting on random posts. And then there's a plywood like connecting the siding and the ground. So it's obviously the house is sinking in different corners. And other than that, it's in good shape. So we're proposing lifting the house, putting in a full basement foundation under the house and new support for the existing porch. And other than that, the house will remain pretty much what you see. And we're just, we would like to put a small addition on the second floor. If you look at the rear elevation, which is, I believe, like northeast, there you can see one-story bump out. Probably was an addition at some point later. And we would like to make that space, it's 14 by 12, there we go. Bring that space up so it's two-story apart, like a wing. And you can see right underneath it's the existing, so we can, for comparison, if we can look at what's there now. So just bring that up, and there's a bedroom that we were just enlarged. So that's the only change on it. And also we're adding a couple of windows on, I think it's a southwest elevation. The one facing northwest front.
You were almost
So right there. So on the existing, if we can look at the existing, there is a two sets of two windows on the second floor. So we would like to add another window on each side of those doubles almost. So it would look like that just because the view is phenomenal, and will really improve the bedrooms upstairs. And you can see on the right, you can see that two-story part. How that changes the view of it. So double window there, and all that addition will have obviously the same details, just the extension what's already existing, and same treatment for siding and trim and roofing, obviously. And that's it.
So, entertain a motion to open a public hearing.
I'll second it.
For opening public hearing, say aye. Any opposed? Abstaining? Public hearing is open. Anybody else who would like to speak to this application, please sign in, step forward, comment, say what you would, and you're from there is great.
Yes, I would like, my name is Lars Jensen. I'm a structural engineer as part of the project team. And I'd just like to add a couple comments to what Irina just told you about. And it doesn't change the scope of the project at all, but they have to do with constructability concerns, lifting the house, getting it to what you're seeing there as the final proposed state. So first of all, we did a structural evaluation of the entire building. And the building right now, just a couple comments I think that'll help you understand what we're coming from. The building right now doesn't have a foundation system per se. It has Cape Cod tree stumps and other small pilaster and rocks and everything, and it's a miracle to some extent that a house in this exposed location, it's right on the bluff at Craigwell Beach, has not sustained more damages over time, especially from the high wind loads, right? So, there was a bit of luck involved there probably too. The building does show significant settlements throughout, and as you can imagine, the foundation was more than undersized, and so the building over 100 years has deformed significantly, from creep deformations, from settlements over long periods of time. It's difficult to press these out during a lift, right? So we understand that the building will have to live with some of these deflections that have just been age-old at this point, right? And we can't reverse them all. There are two particular items that we would like to raise for discussion. The first one has to do with the chimney. So the house will be lifted probably 3 to 4 feet above the final elevation that you see here. Full depth reinforced concrete foundation for a full basement will be constructed, with the exception of the porch area, and I'll talk about this in a minute a little bit more. And the house will be let down to basically the same elevation that it has always had, onto the new foundations. On the interior is an old brick chimney and a wood-burning fireplace. It's not in good condition, and the owner has decided, rather than to reconstruct it or to really make sure it's safe down the road, to potentially demolish it and replace it with a gas insert. If that is done, we would reconstruct the chimney as a light system, not as a masonry chimney or a stone chimney, but as a shaft, if you will, a framed shaft in the house. And it would do a couple things on the inside. It would eliminate the difficulty of lifting such an old stone chimney. It's in a relatively short area right now of 2 to 3 feet. That means we're coming in with the full basement. We have to put in a full foundation underneath this chimney. So there's just significant cost considerations. There's a difficulty in making the lift and ensuring that the chimney is actually usable afterwards. So we would like to ask the board if we can fully demolish the chimney, reconstruct it as a light system. And we have certainly done things on the outside where the shaft, you see the chimney in this elevation, where the shaft comes out of the roof in a very similar fashion and is then thin veneered, for example, with a brick that has almost exact same appearance of the chimney that is there, right? So we're not trying to change the aesthetics. We're just trying to make a structural change to the chimney itself. That's one item. And item number 2, if you could pull up a plan, maybe a roof plan, Irina, I'm not sure, that shows the porch roof. Oh, that's a good one, actually. The elevation is fine. So you see the rounded porch windows, if you will, and that actually happens on 2 sides of the building. It's on this side elevation, and then also on the right side elevation from this view. It's very similar to this. It wraps the building on that corner. This is original to the house, I believe. But as many original structures on Cape Cod, it has been constructed particularly undersized. The roof rafters are way too small for what they need to be to hold snow loads on a lower roof system that also has drift snow on it. Some of these members show rot, large deflections. The foundations are not adequate, although they have been repaired just a few years ago. But the repair was such that nothing was leveled. It was just arrested in position. So you have huge deflections within the floor system of this exterior porch. So our suggestion would be, again, because of the difficulty of lifting this porch area with the entire building and the experience that we have as a structural engineer on Cape Cod, to reconstruct this porch area in kind, exactly in the same fashion, only we would be using adequate sized members to hold the snow roof. Nothing would change aesthetically. Some of these components are slated to be updated anyways. For example, the first floor deck. We have lots of experience with similar construction along Buzzards Bay, and these rounded arches are typically built in such a poor fashion that they're just structurally not integrated. As soon as we start touching them, you just start unraveling the sweatshirt, right? And you have to touch more and update more and more and more. And it's just such little structure there that our proposition is, if you would allow us to reconstruct this in exact the same look and dimension, only with new structural members, it would allow us to detach this porch from the building during the lift and then come back and reconstruct it as a new structure, but in the same geometry.
Thank you.
The 2 items I wanted to mention.
Are you going to make that roof the same pitch as the building? Because right now that roof is not the same pitch.
The porch roof you're talking about? Well, that has not been proposed. We are certainly open for suggestion. We're just thinking of reconstructing it exactly in the geometry that it currently has. Yep.
Do that, though, with the window on the second floor. I mean,
I know, but we got the DCPC up here on Crayville. And the DCPC says you can't have a roof under 6 pitch.
Oh, good
That's
catch.
existing roof, and that's, we were proposing to keep the pitch the way it is, so we're reconstructing as it is.
Well, I'm going to let you deal with DCPC.
I'm not terribly knowledgeable about that DCPC, but thank you, Jack, and I agree with his assessment, but we'll let you deal with that, because that's not our jurisdiction, but aesthetically,
Painful experience.
we're still in public hearing, and I shouldn't probably be trampling all over everybody, but I want to say I think the proposal made sense. And, yeah.
I understand the request. I understand.
Move your mic over so it's near to you. Thank you.
Thank you. I understand your request, and I understand what Jack is saying with regard to DCPC, but I also, my personal opinion would be, it is keeping the aesthetics the same. And I would have thought that, I mean, if they were trying to propose something radical in a different way, or different in a different way rather than what's already existing, it's more like a replacement than it is a new construction.
It's
even though
analogous to the chimney proposal in some respects, I think.
Which to me, the reasoning would be, if the roof were to be damaged in a big storm and a tree went through it or something, you wouldn't expect them to change the roof from, I don't believe, from what it was before, because it's more of a repair. So that's where I personally feel with it. I as a commissioner, even though I'm not DCPC, I tend to understand it.
We still have to replace that roof to code, which means if it's 2x4s now, it's
Yeah.
going to be 2x6s or 2x8s, which puts the ceilings lower and the arches lower. So
I
I've been down
understand.
the road, so it's coming. So
You have far more experience in architecture than I do. So
Yeah, I'm thinking the same
I'm
thought.
just saying I understand the argument.
What you're proposing, assuming the commissioners agree with it, if it's something that in the course of organizing the project develops into an unworkable situation, particularly if you run up against some code requirement with DCPC, you can come back and we can talk about modifying the results. I mean, that's the simplest way to leave it for you, so you can keep going forward and hit all the buttons you need to hit to get your permits. We should probably close the public hearing unless there are other members of the public who'd like to speak to this. Anyone else? Could I
So
ask for a
moved.
motion to do that? I'm sorry, is that?
Moved.
Second? Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. We close the public hearing. All in favor, please say aye.
aye.
All opposed? Any abstaining? Thank you. Public hearing is closed. Commissioners, anything else you'd like to say or comment on about
I
this?
think Byra saw her writing things down. We'll
Yeah.
need
Go
a
for
couple
it.
of amendments.
I'm at a loss. I don't understand what reconstructing the chimney as a light system is. What is that?
Yeah, so it's not a masonry chimney that would be reconstructed, but it's essentially a hollow wood-framed box, like a shaft,
Okay.
if you will. And on the downstairs inside the house, it could look like anything that you would like it to look like. It could be finished, let's say, with thin veneer stone, and it actually appears like it is a stone chimney. On the outside, we can veneer it. Again, it's thin veneer, but it looks like a brick, right? We tend to do this in order to keep the weights light, right? Because it's just a wood-framed shaft at this point. It's significantly less expensive. That's one of the main reasons to do this. And it doesn't force us to put a massive foundation underneath the old mass of the chimney, because it's so much lighter. Yep.
Thank you.
Ms. Barber?
Nope, that was it.
I think techniques like that make a lot of sense, is my personal opinion. It also helps applicants put some of their funding towards the things that are more critically important to keeping the aesthetics and the full building intact, which
Probably safer,
I
too.
like. And safer to move as well, yeah.
I'd like to ask for a clarification, if I could, just to make sure I understood it. And I originally, Barbara, thought the same thing, a light system. We were talking about electric lighting system, but it's a false chimney, basically. But I just wanted to clarify that aesthetically, because it is a historical commission, the two things that you mentioned, the 2 points. So it'll be, the chimney will still look the same, it'll just be lighter. And the other thing, the rounded porch windows and the roof would still look the same, just be more safe.
Yes, that's true.
Historically, it's not changing.
That is true, and to your point as well, we actually have the room to make the porch look exactly the way that it looks currently on the outside. We would not have to lower or raise the eave lines. From the inside, you're looking at something like probably 3x4s at about 24 to 30 inch on center is what's there. We probably can't match that existing configuration like this unless we would go to structural steel, but it's cost prohibitive. So if you stood in, and if you look up, you see board sheathing and the members, right? So we probably have a tighter spacing with a higher strength wood material, even if we go to engineered materials. But from the outside view, there would be no changes in geometry. We do have the ability with the materials that are available and the space that's available to reconstruct really in kind, as is. And we've done it in the past where we took pictures before and after and demonstrated that it's identical to what was there before. So it can be verified.
Great, thank you.
Do LVL work?
LVL could be an option, yeah, maybe at a tighter spacing with much increased strength to the old lumbers that have been used, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. If everyone's ready, I think we should prepare and read the motion. Is there somebody who'd like to read this one?
Barbara, I
No, no,
didn't get I was working up until I got here, so I didn't print it.
My pleasure. This is regarding Underwood, Dorinda, Danforth, 6 Butler Avenue in Centerville, map 226, parcel 020, built 1896. Partial demolition, lift house, remove existing foundation and replace with new foundation. Small second floor addition in the east corner. 2 windows to be added on the second floor facing the southwest. All new construction to match existing house.
And Barbara, could I,
And-
yes, good for you. That's what I was going to say. Let's
And-
make the changes you suggested.
Demolish the original chimney, and reconstruct as a chimney light system. Also demolish the front porch and reconstruct it as similar to what it is now.
Yep.
Right, okay. Motion 1, I move that after review and consideration of public testimony, the application and associated materials, the significant building at 6 Butler Avenue, Centerville, is a preferably preserved significant building.
A vote of aye or nay. Aye will impose an 18-month delay.
I need a
second it.
Oh, I beg your pardon, excuse me. I jumped in
second
right
that.
in. Thank you, Jack.
Yeah.
I think Nancy beat us to the punch
Okay,
there.
at any rate, I would impose an 18-month delay. A nay vote will not impose an 18-month delay. Nancy?
Oh, wait a minute. Nay.
You surprised me there.
I accept your reconsidered vote.
Nay.
Cheryl?
I also say nay.
Jack? Nay. Robert?
Nay.
And Robert, I say nay as well. Thank you.
If motion 1 fails with a nay vote, I move that in accordance with section 112-3F, the Barnstable Historical Commission determines that the partial demolition of the building located at 6 Butler Avenue, Centerville, is not detrimental to the historical, cultural, and architectural heritage or resources of the town.
I'll second that.
So an aye vote determines that the partial demolition of the single-family structure is not detrimental and no demolition delay will be imposed. Nancy? Aye. Cheryl? Aye. Jack?
Aye.
Barbara? Robert? Aye. Got it. Yeah, so,
It's
yeah,
something.
we all get a little
it's
deer in the
procedure
headlights
that
with
we
these
have nothing
things.
to do with. We have to.
And I went to look at your lovely house
We
today,
always
and it
have
most
people
certainly does sit
gasping.
on a bluff, and boy, you have to have your wits about you to find your navigational skills around your neighborhood. With one-way streets and tight turns, and oh my goodness, you're going to have fun with trucks. Anyway, we digress. Thank you very
Is that
much.
up on the hill?
Thank you very much.
Oh, appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. So, thank you. Our next hearing is Denise and Robert Quirk, trustees, 64 Vine Avenue, Centerville, map 226, parcel 037, built 1930, full demolition, demolish the existing structure.
Do I need to go sign?
Jack, are you going to recuse yourself for this one?
I am.
Okay. I think technically you know the drill. You're supposed to disappear on us for a little bit. Thank you very much. Sorry about that.
See you in a while.
If you wanna sign, you don't have to be there.
Write it down on
It
here
almost
so I
looks
know.
like a presidential signing with all these pens laying out, doesn't it? That's kind of weird.
Mine doesn't work, that's why.
Oh, well, that's fine. That's why they're extras, but I hadn't thought of that analogy until just now. It's sort of funny.
It's better, it's all one day. Get
Oh,
it
yeah,
done.
no, it's great.
Yeah,
We need to know who was here. If you're going to speak, it doesn't have to
I'm
be
not
the...
going to speak
Okay,
if you need me. No, I'm just kidding.
for you.
I'm on again, yes. Yeah, sure, you can.
All right.
And Lars is
you.
standing by.
If you'd like to, but I don't think you have to.
I think,
I feel like I need to make that a lot smaller. There we go.
okay,
Same comment about exploring past this one a couple of times today. I almost broke my neck trying to see it.
good. So this one's gonna be a little more complicated than the previous one. But, so 64 Vine Avenue, Bob and Denise Burke. So this small cottage was built in 1930 and hasn't really seen any changes since then. Again, this one is in desperate need of foundation again, because there isn't any. It's just the random posts and a couple of bricks or so, but there's just nothing under. So just a little history of how we kind of came to this decision to demolish this house. And I know it's a lot to ask this board to demolish historic house. I know it's almost impossible, but I guess the main thing is this house been in the family for nearly 100 years, and it's been well used and served well, and the family had grown, and the owners are looking into retiring in this area, and obviously there is no insulation, no heat, there's no foundation. It really is a Cape Cod cottage that serves its purpose. But we, our original thought was lift the house, put the new foundation in, and restore it and add to it and add space that's needed. And then try to preserve it. But by the time we did all that exercise with lifting it and just moving things around, we came up with something completely different. I mean, there was nothing left from the structure, and whatever was left was really structurally not sound and not adequate to. It just couldn't be used. It would have to, let's say we leave the first deck there, but we'll have to reinforce everything. Basically, everything will have to be rebuilt. So, and we have this proposed design for basically new structure on the same spot with a couple of small additions on each side and adding a front gable. But whatever we would leave in the space, whatever would be left from this house, is, you can't really, see it, and it just wasn't worth it, because, like, again, like a little bit of common sense, lifting the house costs some money, and if we're not gonna see anything from what's there now, it seems to be wasting money for just to follow some sort of a protocol that. So anyway, this is the existing house, and we can look at the proposed elevations. And we have, each sheet has the existing below and the proposed above. And so what we're trying to do is we're keeping it as a 4-bedroom house, and the existing house is basically no height to it. There are 2 bedrooms upstairs under those dormers. The plate height on these dormers is 5 feet and 8 inches, and it's like a little hobbit house. Anything in the house it's not up to today's codes in terms of egress, energy, structural stuff. So we're proposing rebuilding this house on new foundation with raising the roof a little bit, putting a different roof pitch on, adding 2 little additions on both sides of the house, and but preserving the spirit of and the idea of the cottage. And so the proposed siding and details and windows and doors are mimicking what's already existing. We're not changing the style of the house. It's not like this is going to be some big gambrel 2-story tall house. We're really trying to stay with that cottage feel with this. So we're just shooting for something that's affordable in the long run, and will serve the family for another 100 years or so. But we're keeping the idea of the old Cape Cod cottage, but bringing it up to a 21st century standards in terms of, winterizing. Insulating and heating and cooling, and just so it's livable year round.
Can I just ask, is
Yes.
the footprint of the new house that I see, not the wings off on the side, but just the main part of the house, is that pretty much the same dimensions as?
Yes, we have a site plan, and it might be, I think there is an existing house. We can zoom on it. You can see the existing. So we're following the same footprint, and there's a little addition on what would be on the lower part, and there's another addition on the upper part, plus the covered porch. So other than that, the footprint is staying. And we're not trying to push on, like, encroach on setbacks, on lot coverage, floor area, or height. So everything is within, like, requested restrictions.
And let's say the one thing that I'm a little concerned about is the parking under the house.
Okay.
It does change the feel of the property, but.
Well, can we look at it again? So if we look at the existing, it has a door into what is sort of a basement. And so there's the same footprint, and we're extending it up to gain some second floor space into the little setback roof there, so it's not that, straight up. So the door is already there. This one it's about, 18 inches narrower than the proposed garage doors. So.
Yeah, this doesn't read like a garage at the moment, but the space is there with some of that
the width
intent.
of that porch, that footprint stays. That's same as proposed, or same as existing.
Could we go through the pictures of the existing just a little bit slower, just a
Could I just ask, maybe we'd open a public hearing first in case members of the public want to step in?
So moved.
Motion for opening a public hearing?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You're on. I can see you warming up.
Yeah, I don't actually have much to say, but I'm probably partially to blame for this taking the twist of asking for demolition. So Irina had brought me in, and the owners actually were proposing this as a renovation project with a new foundation, right? Because the foundation is less existing than it was in the previous project. So I think my recommendation to the board would be to really look at this not just from the angle of, oh, this is a demolition and somebody builds a new house. I think it would be good to look at it in the context of what had been proposed as a renovation before. And if that was to be approved, why couldn't that be approved as a demolition and reconstruction? That's what I would pose to you. And the reason is this. If you looked at what would actually remain of the old house if it was a renovation project, we would be lifting a first floor deck alone, just the first floor framing, and about 20% of the first story walls. That's it. The rest would be new construction anyways.
Of necessity.
Just because the door and window openings would change, the dormers and the roof construction is completely different, right? None of these members could be saved because the geometry is completely different. The members of the first floor deck are, nearly 100 years old. Every single member would have to be reinforced, sized up. If you walked into this building, it's an exposed structure. You can see all the beams, the studs. It has board sheathing overlaying it, right? The complications are endless, right? And if you look at what actually practically can remain, even if it was approved as a reconstruction, there is hardly a difference here of what truly would remain for any contractor who would have to touch this project. So that's the main reason to propose and say, well, instead of having lifting costs of in the neighborhood of $60,000 to $70,000 for a first floor deck and the difficulty of keeping that in the way, let's just propose this as a reconstruct with all the changes that have always been part of this project. Yep.
I appreciate hearing the logic behind that. Motion, please, to close the public hearing.
Motion, so moved.
Second. Thank you. Moved and seconded to close the public hearing. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay? No? Okay. Commissioners.
Just not quite so flicking through, just the original pictures again, please. Just, a few seconds on each. Okay.
I'm a little confused about what happened at the end of that picture. I don't know quite what that did. But I'm guessing it got a second one stuck in it.
Picture,
Yeah.
I couldn't step away.
That's okay.
I wanted to just get a better feel for what's there now.
My impression is that they are trying to keep some of the characteristics of the original and the new, but this is diminutive compared to the new. And the new is very substantial.
Story.
Yep.
Yeah.
But since it's a full demolition, I personally would feel more comfortable with the site review. Actually going out and having a look. That's my personal opinion. Because it is a full.
Something that, as a commission, we have some history of doing
we
prior
have
to reaching
gone around
decisions?
before, yes, and had a look. As long as there's not a quorum.
Request
Yeah,
a
we could
continuance
schedule
to-
something, as Cheryl stated, we just can't have a quorum at the same site visit.
That's what I was getting at, too. Okay.
But if everybody wanted to go, we could set up probably do 2 and 2, since Jack has recused himself. And we
And,
can
you
try
know,
to
I've-
come up with the best time for that, if that is the way the commission would like to go.
And I'm only one voice. I just thought.
No, I appreciate the suggestion.
Considering the historical part of it, just to make sure where we're going.
It's unusual. Can consider full demolition easily. I mean, I'm not suggesting it's going to be easy, but I appreciate the logic behind the explanation as well, though. Nancy, how do you feel about the subject?
They should also know that if this happens and we put it off for 1 month so we can have a site review, that has to come from you. So
Permitting and requesting that
Because you
at our
you might be
suggestion, if you agree with it, that's all.
negative vote.
Yeah, we're
now
not-
if you didn't get the site
that's
review,
right.
so.
It's only with your permission. You know, we don't do,
Yeah.
that's why we don't do it beforehand, because it's inappropriate.
That's right. I only had a couple of personal thoughts about the aesthetics or detail on this. And one is I did appreciate, could we just see the finished proposed facade? There, please, thank you. It's big for the site a little bit. The street's very narrow, and you are below it, so it's going to be there. So it's a little bit of a personality change for that part of the street. I don't know if that's a bad thing or not, I'm just saying it is. I appreciate that the massing is broken up as much as it is. It seems to help with that, to me. I know that some of the shutters that are on those presently are matched up with windows already. They have that as a precedent.
Those are the same size windows
I know,
on the first floor.
I'm not disagreeing with anything you're doing, but I'm just going to say I have a thing a little bit about windows with one shutter on them.
Okay.
And mullioned windows with shutters on either side that can never close. I'm just very old-fashioned about that. It's just me, but it's a thought. I'm wondering if there's some ways to personalize and pick up some of the aesthetics of the original house with not necessarily copying that kind of thing, if you find a way to do it. And I'm not pretending to have a suggestion necessarily, but the only other thing I thought is on the rear elevation, you have some odd window alignments. The window heads don't line up, and you have one that looks like it might be in a stairwell, to light a stairwell, one over the other. It's not a public view. It's not critical, but it's a little unusual. And I just am thinking that normally you would want to see things where it just would line up a little more.
Okay. Yeah, so in terms of like bringing the details or things from the existing house to this one, we're matching the overhangs.
Yes.
We're matching the built-out rakes and all the trim style windows. We're raising the first floor ceiling height and also putting knee wall on the top of that. And then the second floor starts. So regarding to those windows,
Could you just get a little bit closer to the microphone?
I'm sorry. To those windows that are not aligned, those two windows are in a living room area that has a vaulted ceiling, and I just wanted to bring in more light. So like the window on the left and window on the right, the kitchen window are at the regular 6'10" height. So these are like at 8 feet, and they're long windows to just bring in the light. I mean, I can put them at the same height as the, windows on each side, and maybe have transoms or something, but it's kind of a dark spot there, even if it's it's southern exposure. There's a house next to it and trees, so I'm trying to maximize the light without being like, going too modern. So that's the only, that's the explanation.
I don't
of-
see that as
I don't see
being
it as a big deal.
detrimental.
I just
Yeah.
Yeah.
was curious about it, as more than anything.
And again, the windows in the stairwell, again, bringing in light, because it's just, it works in that spot. Other than that, the house doesn't really have any other, like, let's say, some, shingle patterns or any other features, like special features. It's very simple. So we're just trying to keep it that way, and the shutters are just a suggestion that's to go.
And the shutters are in many places, just as you have positioned them here, and I noticed that on the original one. All right, thank you. I guess we're at the point where we need to decide whether we wish to ask you to consider a continuance for site visits, or whether you would prefer that we simply try to go for a vote on this, and it is up to you as the applicant. Oh, of course, sure.
Major change. I like that. That would be good. That would be major change. Figured out. Oh, it's walls. Either side of the garage looks like that's a stone wall.
Exactly.
That would be good to see.
I was just trying to figure out on either side of the garage. It looks like it's a stone wall.
Or is it just going down to put them on the house?
Yeah, we can make this available.
I'm going to move over here. I can't see anything from over there, and the air conditioner, you can't hear anything either. It's very loud.
Crazy, yeah.
So you can't see, you can't hear, and I'm seeing they're straining. So we have to do something.
They're in the
Okay.
living room, so we're fine.
Especially, we should point out
Don't-
where the house is right across the street. Completely new.
How long do we have?
That's what I was just asking.
We're the last one, so we can be here till 10 o'clock
Oh,
tonight.
please don't say anything like that, but yeah. Nobody wants to stay forever. We just
Is
want to get
there,
it done.
is there a cutoff
I could be
time
back
with
here.
enough
Actually
somebody
not.
else?
No, we're all right.
Okay. Turn it on to sci-fi instead. It's about the same. Say turn it on to sci-fi instead. It's about the same.
Yeah, it would be good to see it in a.
And the house across the street.
Okay, we would like to do the site visit.
Good for you. Okay.
And I just have a question about that. Is that possible that some of us could be part of the site visit, or like you do it in secret?
No, you.
I think we would want you there if
Set
it
up
was
a s-
possible.
I will
Yes.
communicate with you guys. We will set up a date and a time where we come. The only thing is at a site visit, obviously, they cannot discuss the project as a whole. That is for
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
But they would like to be able to come see. You can point things out at the site visit, but discussion needs to happen here.
For meeting laws purposes, we can't come as a commission. We have to come in less than a quorum. So,
Oh, okay,
So
I
we'll
see.
probably.
That's
need to
why
make
I
thought
two
it was
appointments.
two.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll
Yeah.
try and do that at
So
as
we'll
much
try
at your
to set
convenience.
something up, and I can communicate that between the commissioners tomorrow and by the end of this week, so that we have something going forward before the September 17th meeting.
The
So,
glory
yeah.
about somebody being there, just, we can't discuss it as such, but we can certainly say, okay, so this is what's on your plan on the left wall, and that's the right, just
Yeah,
for
just to kind
clarification.
of verify.
Wait and
Yeah,
judge
exactly.
things.
And then we would just come back on September 17 and discuss it.
Yes, exactly.
And thank you for that consideration.
Yeah, and we
It's-
appreciate
it's
it, all
very
of
much
us.
appreciated.
Yeah, I think it's a great way to do this. What
So-
is the formality here from the chair's perspective to
It
obtain?
is to
the
ask for a motion for continuance to a time, date, and location certain.
To be determined.
So we would entertain a motion from one of the commissioners for a continuance of this hearing until
It's
a date of
September
September 17th.
17th at 4:00 PM within the Selectmen's Conference Room.
I will make the motion that, as per the request and consideration, thank you very much, that we continue this particular application to the September 17th meeting so that we can accommodate a site review. And there was another part there, and the actual date to be worked out with planning, date to be determined.
Is there a second for that? Thank you very much. Moved and seconded. Any discussion amongst the commissioners here? I think we're ready to just vote.
We'll be seeing you again.
Nancy?
No, I'm fine.
No, aye or nay? It's a vote. I mean, it's a motion. We need a vote.
Oh, aye.
Of course, you made the motion, I guess.
What are we voting on, please?
The continuance
Continuance.
Yes.
as well. So thank you very much. That's great. Appreciate it.
Nancy, since you're just on that side, do you want to poke out your head and see if you can just grab Jack so you can come back? Oh, I just had Nancy go.
Gone to run for him, but either way.
You don't mind me moving over there so you can see better?
Yeah.
Move around all you want. As far as I'm concerned, whatever works.
If you're here for
So
the
years
meeting, I
ago, the commission used to all of them sit on the back, I thought, and see the
We've
world.
done that on the HHDC before.
Yeah? How's it go?
We don't do it now.
Okay, just curious.
All right.
All right, our next hearing, Denise and Scott Baker, 200 Parker Road, Osterville, map 116, parcel 041, built 1925. Partial demolition, demo exterior window and wall to add a one-car garage with master bedroom and bathroom above it. And we have applicants. Hi, applicants. Come on down and sign yourselves in, please. Any of you who'd like to speak? Hearing from you. Cutting any wires, running over.
Oh, you're fine.
So that you have to keep doing those. I just didn't see it on my email before I left the house, so I couldn't. Okay.
Just try and aim for the microphone, which is not always the easiest thing in the world to do, we all find, myself included.
My name is Carol Viana. I'm one of the design team for them. And we tried as much as possible keep the original look, the siding, trim, windows. The house already has some different windows. If you can see, like, it's not one style, so now we're trying to avoid that, and the windows will be replaced. We'll have the same kind of like grid on the top and clear on the bottom to keep everything in one. It has a particular driveway on First Street instead of Park Street. So that's why we are adding the garage there. It's way closer for us, and I believe Park Street is also an easier street for us to cut the curb, as it's been used this way for a long time. So this is a Cape style, and the year built, the effectively year built is 1979. So Gambro style, Cape Cod, and we try to mimic the same thing on the garage. So all the Gambro. If you scroll down, one part though that we notice it's not noted on the description of our application is that we are also adding 10 feet on the living room. So the living room chimney right now, it's in a very bad condition, and we have a report that's not safe and it's leaking water inside of the house. And because it's like a big chunk of the wall, we decided to also expand the living room and get a new gas fireplace in the house. So if you can see, like this left side is the new living room. Sorry, in the floor plans. Yeah. So the 10 feet that we have added for the living room area. Thinking about that, we already have to replace the chimney. It's beautiful, but it's in a very bad condition, leaking, and they will have to get it done. And it's mostly the rocks is on the inside too. So, and from the street you can, it's visible, but it's not like a focal point because it's on the side, and it's on the side that the house the house is in a corner lot, so it's on the neighbor side. That's the only side they have a neighbor. So, because Denise works from home and she needs an office, we decided to, because of also her septic system, we decided to create a bigger office for her on the second floor. And we'll keep the first existing office just for the kids to do homework. So we are basically taking all the family to the second floor with a new master above the garage and the bedroom for the two girls. So yeah, that's the first floor garage, and then the mudroom and a laundry. On the left of the on the right of the house, on the first floor, if you go back a little bit, yeah, there is a flat roof that there's needing some maintenance. Yeah, so here, sorry. No? Yeah, so if you see the market with blue is the area we're gonna demolish. No, sorry, the floor plan here, yes. So if you see the little bump out, and if you want to go to the photos of the house, the little bump out is a flat roof, and it needs to be reworked too.
So is the area in blue what you
that one.
Adding the 10 feet to?
No, the area with blue is demolition, so all the walls we're demoling. So see the kind of like flat roof, mudroom area, it needs repair. And we also think that that's nothing to do with the look of the house. And extending the garage there, we will treat that with the new roof, the gambrel roof. So the new roof will pass through the area and do a new coverage for the laundry and the mudroom on the first floor. So it wouldn't look like that was kind of like a shed that they added and then they incorporated inside of the house or some sort of this that they did back in time. So also with the new garage and new mudroom, we're gonna fix all the levels, all the floors will be one. Because when we come inside, because of this addition, it's also a little bit like busy and tight for them to come inside of the house. So now we'll have a new mudroom, lounge in the back, and the garage that they don't have. And that elevation, the only thing we are demoing is that kitchen window on the right side corner. A little bit more. Yeah, that one. So, and then we are basically connecting to the side and passing through this flat roof area for the mudroom.
So there's two walls with one very small amount of demo, but there's two walls, so we need to, this says just wall. Two walls that will have some demolition on them, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Basically, the side wall will be incorporated inside the house.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I'm not,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just making sure we say the right
Yeah,
thing.
no,
for our-
yeah, so that's why we also noted about the living room that was not there
Is
on
it,
the right.
I imagine that's the existing garage behind the car,
Yeah.
and that's going to stay.
Big enough for a garage,
Huh?
but yeah, it's
Yeah.
going to stay.
Yeah,
It's
as a tool
Yeah,
shed.
it's a shed.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
low and it's small.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
no, yeah, it's more like a shed. So it's basically that. We try to work with the gambrel and the dormers that we are adding. Also the deck on top of the living room. Everything we took into consideration what we have in the area. Yeah, this little deck. Yeah. So that's the area we're adding in the living room. So the living room and the deck on the top. And that was not on the description.
Oh. Yeah, this is just, sounds like you were just removing one wall and one window, but that's not quite accurate.
Yeah, I don't know, when Denise submitted the permit application, she added the living room, but I don't know what happened.
I might have missed it. That might have been my fault. That might have been an administrative.
Yeah, because
But-
it's listed? Yeah.
Zoom in.
Oh, yeah, there are a few things.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Interior wall.
we should write,
Number 3 is the living room.
Exterior window and
Yeah.
a wall in the living room.
Yep.
Yep. So that was my bad. I missed that.
Okay.
No, that's all right.
Just want to make sure that it's included in what we
Yeah.
discuss or vote on is the main thing.
we can say in the proposed, the proposed demolition within the form, as per, you know.
Are you all set? You have more to say? I mean, you're welcome to keep going. And we'll just
No, it's
make sure we're at
basically that
a point. I want to keep us
everything
moving a
we are
little bit.
matching, as I said, the size of the windows, trims, siding, the roof color. Basically, like we're doing nothing. I would say the only thing that the house didn't have before was the railings for the deck. But if you guys have any suggestions, we can also take into consideration style, sizes, anything. We try to do as minimal as possible because like the main focus now in the house, it's the gambrel roof that we're working on to match with the house itself.
How much lower is the roof of the garage from the house?
Let me see here. I have a section. It's not much. I would say it's about 4 to 5 feet, but I can add to the application too.
The more the better, but
Maybe we should. Could we request, I'd
know
like
you
to
have
request a
to-
motion to open the public hearing so others can speak if there's anyone else who'd like to.
if,
I'd like a motion to open the public hearing. If we
we
could,
didn't
and
do
then
that
we can have
So
Commissioner
moved.
chat after that.
So moved.
second,
Thank you. All in favor of open a public hearing?
aye.
Any opposed? Public hearing are open. This at all? I mean, you could anyway as the applicant,
Yeah.
of course. I'm not trying to separate you there.
Bedroom above the garage. I think we went as high as we
Get into the
could.
microphone.
Microphone, yep.
With the bedroom above the garage, we tried to only go as high as we needed to put a bedroom. So the roof
Okay.
there's no
There's a
attic.
reason for it being the height it is.
Yes, yeah. There's no attic or additional
Yeah.
space above it.
Yeah.
It's just enough to fit a room above
Yeah.
it.
We're going to remove the chimney completely?
Yes.
Because it's not listed on here that I see.
Yeah, that's true. And that's an important element. I want to say chimneys, fieldstone foundations, you might not think you see them, but they're diagnostic, they're characteristic, they're architectural feature definitions of a period-style house. And a house reads according to the details you see, and you're paying attention to a lot of them, and I get that. But those are details this commission would watch for really closely. As you know, in a previous application we had, they're taking a chimney down, they're building basically a replica of one. That's a lot harder to do with fieldstone.
Yes.
But the fieldstone chimneys, I mean, it's beautiful. I've seen it. I went by. I know First Ave. I know Parker. I used to live right around the corner. I know the area really well. I know what you're dealing with in terms of space and limitations. I can see what you're trying to do with your volumizing, pardon the term, but it just cuts to the chase. I know you're trying to increase living space in your home. My concern personally is usually that I'd love to see as many of the defining characteristics that make the old house still old stick around. And I know it's sometimes expensive to do it, but sometimes there are trade-offs to think through and talk about, so just putting it out there. My other thing, and it's a personal thing, again, like the shutters earlier, when the new addition starts to feel like the tail's going to wag the dog a little bit, and I'm not sure that's true here, but I just want to say I always want to watch out for that, and that's partly what Nancy was thinking of, I believe, when she asked about the height of the garage relative to the height of the parent or early building. You don't want it to make the original historic building subordinate in any way, or extremely more impactful if possible visually. It doesn't always depend on size. It can be other things like superabundance of detail in the other ones. That's not true here, but if there's anybody else from the public to speak, we can close the public hearing. And a second. All in favor of closing the public hearing? All opposed? Good. Okay. Commissioners, speak to your thoughts about this to your heart's content. What are your thinking? We have a couple of things that are kind of wild cards.
I have a question about that chimney. Would you be prepared, because it is part of the overall character of that structure, to have a faux chimney there, which still maintains it?
Doesn't look like
I
it.
think I do.
I think it's on the side, right?
Yeah,
It's on the left-hand ends.
There's a
Yeah.
vegetation
Yeah.
there, and
I see it between the leaves. We know where it is, and you
yeah,
know where it is.
it's right there. The only thing we didn't install another one on the same, let's say, wall, is because now we have a deck, and so the only way to do that is if we add even more square footage to the second floor, so I can run through a fireplace. So that's why we're doing a gas fireplace on the first floor. So that's the only thing, but if it's something that we need to reconsider, maybe, I don't know, maybe doing in the front, like in the front elevation.
It doesn't have to be a real working chimney, just, it
Yeah.
could be just from the roof up, basically.
Yeah, but my concern is just like, if you see the plans, we have the deck now. Yes, that one.
So it would come up right through the deck against the house and.
Yes, so between the two windows, it's the location that existing one would be right now. And if we wanted just to be even, like, I don't know if it's something that we could do, or maybe try to do an accent on this wall, maybe just like rocks between the windows, even though it's not a chimney. Like, I'm not sure if that would suffice, because the thing is, how am I gonna go up if I don't have that wall? It would only add the square footage even more to the existing that we were trying to avoid.
And we were, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were done.
Yeah.
And you said that the chimney's condition, would you mind repeating that at the moment?
Yes, we also have the report. We got a specialist to inspect it.
I was going to ask if you had a structural
Yeah,
report.
when we first moved in, we had it inspected, and they said it's unsafe. It was falling down and pulling the house with it. That's what he said.
That sometimes.
And it's actually in the living room. The walls are bowed out on each side of the stone. It's just so heavy that it's pulling on the house.
So it's settling, and the house is coming with
I
it.
think our suggestion of a cosmetic chimney is more of a suggestion, I would think. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the
agree with
personality of the
that.
building. It's why we think of it as much as we do.
Well, what's that? Oh, yeah, they actually, someone tried to reinforce it, and they put like a cable and tied it on each side, and it's just, I'm like afraid even.
Yeah, that's
scary.
not
if
a,
there's
doesn't sound like a
ever
good
an
thing.
earthquake in the slightest bit. But we did like labor over that, because I felt like if we wanted to keep or rebuild, we would have to do a second floor, and then I felt like it would really take away from the aesthetic of the front of the house, and it would look like overpowering. It's a very similar house in Centerville, very nicely done, and their bump out has a deck with a railing, just like that. So I think it's typical of Dutch colonials to have a bump out with a railing. So we're taking down that feature of the stone foundation, but I felt like we were adding another historical feature that matches what those houses look like. So we tried to keep it along the same lines, you know. We just couldn't figure out how to put a chimney unless you put on a second floor addition, which we didn't want to do that there, you know.
Yeah.
Well, your current one is what we call an end chimney, so it's exposed the full height from grade to right through the roof, and that's typical of the purpose and style of it. It's also partly what exposes that much more masonry to weathering, but in this case, it sounds like it's as much a case of the weight of the chimney and settling of its underpinning and foundations as it is the construction itself. I'm not going to presuppose how my fellow commissioners will feel about that. I like original chimneys in kind of a big way. If it can be replicated, it's important. I don't know if there are other trade-offs to be made with the space beneath where it would be instead. I'm not trying to mess with your programming, but, you know, just it's all stuff to think about and talk about.
Might I recommend that we read the report into the record? Sure. Can you read all those? Some of the words I can't make out, but I've got.
Can I
Can
see
you
it,
make every
Jack,
one of them out?
or-
What? Sure.
Or
If you
Jack,
want to
you
read it
can
into the record. I mean, I've got most of them, but. Did
I'd
you
like to read it in, go for it.
Erica, yeah.
Pardon?
Oh, Erica will read.
Oh,
Read it if you'd like.
It's not for reading. It's some of the words you just can't make out. About
Okay.
5 of them.
Inspected for safety and condition, fireplace unsafe for use due to discrepancies found within existing clay flue liners for chimney and overrun poor chimney construction, or overall, rather, not overrun. Exterior stone chimney has pulled away from the house. Recommend remove of the existing stone chimney. Furnace/water heater, components of the water, I'm not sure what that word is, but it's in poor condition. Recommend replacement of deteriorating galvanized smoke pipe.
Okay, thank you.
I believe it was galvanized for that first one that I couldn't read as well.
Any other thoughts, commissioners? Any other comments?
I don't know, might be another site review, but or I'm just worried about the chimney because it's so much a part of the character of the house.
I
recognize and respect the report.
Oh, yeah, I do too. And we're not trying to be in the way. I don't think there's a question the chimney needs to be removed. Whether it needs to be replaced or replicated in some fashion would be more what would be in play aesthetically for the sake of the look of the building. I think that's what we're trying to get to. We're not messing with the safety aspect of that in the slightest, and that's one reason we like to read those things into the record for sure. I don't know if a site review would be needed. We could try it if you would be willing, but I think you can almost tell most of what you need to know from the pictures and things. I'm just saying, I drove by it, and it's a case of proportions for me with the addition and some of the alterations. And it's about the chimney. I have one question for you, and I may be totally off base. Did I read that you're planning to widen the second floor at any level? It's retaining the same width of the gambrel, correct?
Yeah, it's the
Okay,
same
good. I'm glad that you instantly disabused me of it. I'm happy. That wasn't going to work very well for me, but I also couldn't figure out how on earth you were going to do it.
If you give me a second, I can pull up a picture of that side.
Oh, yeah. I have a tendency to Google Map things, and you can zoom in on things sometimes where you have foliage in the way or stuff like that.
So I can bring it up.
So while Erica's bringing that up, I would wonder if, I have no idea what timetable you're on. I don't want to hold you up. But do you want some time to consider some other alternatives about the chimney, for example, before we would go to a vote? Would you like us to just proceed? That's really kind of where we're at, and I need to keep the ball rolling a little bit here. I don't want to rush you guys at all, but there you go. And so from Google, or from, maybe that's what I saw too, from the town assessor's page, which is a public page, the chimney looked pretty good on the outside. I don't know anything about angles of heel like a sailboat or pulling things out from the roof.
I will also note this photo is from 2017.
Yeah.
That could have
Oh, and
changed in
things
the
change.
last
No, that's true.
7
That's
years.
fair.
Well, you can see there's a row of rocks, I'll show you, that someone added all along the inside here. Because it actually pulls right out.
A separation.
Yeah, and there is a cable right here. You can
I
see
believe
it.
you.
Wow.
So,
Thank you. Well, I'm not saying everybody's going to go to the mat for the chimney either.
Yeah, no.
Fisher cut bait.
I would love to keep it the way that we had planned, just because I feel like I tried so many different iterations without then expanding the whole house. And I did a lot of research on Dutch colonials and
Might want to get a
keeping
little
it-
closer.
I'm sorry. Did a lot of research into the Dutch colonials and the historic architecture. So that's how we came out with the bump out with the deck above it.
Yeah, it fits,
Yeah,
at
so
least in my
I
opinion,
guess
in that way.
I'm kind of not sure how we would do it unless we bumped out that bedroom, which then I think that would really change the historic look of the home.
You start to lose the value of having the chimney replicated, even if you start putting it inside a building instead of.
Yeah. So.
One thing that I just thought, you see like around the concrete foundation, they had like the stone. Would that be a case if foundation, like in the front of the house, like we keep some of the stone around the foundation.
Of stone veneer
Yeah.
that would help
I would
match the rest of the
absolutely want to
foundation,
do
so you
that,
don't look like
yeah.
you've got two separate
Yeah,
things,
no, that
even though
will-
they are two
that's a
separate things in a lot of ways.
And I think that would be a way for us to keep the beautiful rocks we have and connect the addition with the existing house. So we do like a skirt on the foundation with the rocks.
Yeah, definitely. Unlike the current addition in the back. Which
I was just going to comment on that. I didn't think I needed to.
No, yeah.
I know,
All right.
yeah.
So,
If we just like wrapped around, you know, like what you already
Yeah,
have
exactly.
on the addition and everything, so we would still keep the rock, like the beauty of this.
Yes, absolutely. We'll do that. Yeah.
so if we go to motions, the motion, I would guess, should include the demolition of the chimney, which was not specifically in the original application. Would
And there were one or two other things that were left out, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, so demolition of chimney with the bump out to be added for the living room space.
And there are portions of two walls, not wall.
Yep. And then in the very beginning, which was the demo exterior window and wall, just change that to walls.
Right.
You Get it? I would also add in the veneer skirt for the foundation as well.
It's a
to
good
that.
suggestion. And that's why we like having these conversations, because that makes a difference to the personality of the house. It keeps it a little bit alive.
And to be honest, like this, it can only be seen one side, and if you do the stone veneer and all around the foundation, you'll be a character in all elevations.
Yep.
So I would love to see that.
Definitely.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, nice.
Okay. Somebody feel up for reading a motion? Oh, I beg your pardon. We do still have a public hearing open. All in favor of closing the public hearing?
Aye.
Go to the motion then? Barbara, thank you.
Motion regarding Barbara Scott and Denise, 200 Barker Road in Osterville, map 116, parcel 041, built 1925. It's partial demolition. Demo exterior window and walls to add a one-car garage with master bedroom and bathroom above it. Sure.
Thank you.
My apologies. Replace the windows, demolition of the chimney, add 10 feet to the living room and the deck above, and a veneer skirt for the foundation. Did I get everything on that? Okay, all right.
On the motion? Thank you.
Point of order, real quick. Barbara, I just need you to read in motion one, and then it can be
Yeah.
seconded.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, beg your pardon. I'm
Nope,
getting ahead of
she just
myself.
read the item in.
Motion one, I move that after review and consideration of public testimony, the application and associated materials, the significant building, 200 Parker Road, Osterville, is a preferably preserved significant building.
I'll second that.
Thank you. An aye vote would propose, or would impose an 18-month delay. A nay vote will not impose an 18-month delay. Nancy?
Nay.
Cheryl?
Nay.
Robert? Nay. So we have one abstention, and the rest are nays. And so the motion does not carry. Barbara, could you read the follow-up?
So if motion one fails with a nay vote, I move that in accordance with section 112-3F, the Barnstable Historical Commission determines that the partial demolition of the building located 200 Parker Road, Osterville, is not detrimental to the historical, cultural, and architectural heritage or resources of the town.
I'll second that.
Thank you. An aye vote determines that the partial demolition of the single-family structure is not detrimental and no demolition delay will be imposed. Nancy?
Aye.
And Cheryl? Jack?
Aye.
Robert? Aye. So the motion carries. All right. Thank you, guys, very much. Appreciate it.
Don't forget,
So it's only, only 3 votes.
What's saying, one-car garage?
Yeah,
Did the picture show two?
I think so, yeah.
there were
Can I
two
just,
abstains.
Oh, was
there
it?
were 2 abstains.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Did I misannounce that?
Yes.
Is that a one-car garage or a two-car garage?
One car,
It's one.
one car.
So,
Be to
yeah,
notify.
sorry, hang on just a sec.
Here.
Yeah, what is the proper protocol for that? I've not encountered that before.
Well, they can come back, or we can reopen the vote, but I think it was a 2
Anybody want to
abstain
change their vote, or?
on my abstention.
So with the 2 abstains, because a 4 would need to carry, we could choose to then extend a continuance, or it does not carry, and we would need a new application.
So the default is a do not carry when that happens? That's what I wasn't aware of.
But we
Okay.
can reopen if we wanted to reopen it, or and then continue it for other things to be addressed.
Yes.
But we'd have to go through the formality of reopening. Correct me if I'm wrong, Erica, but I think the formality would be to formally reopen and then give an offer to continue to address some of the other things and
Yes.
put the additional things on the application and maybe revisit some of the other possibilities. That's the way I understand it on open meeting law.
Okay. I misunderstood the vote, so it's a tie vote essentially, which is a default to a negative vote, or we can reopen the hearing to continue it to next month and try and address some of the things that were concerning to the commissioners.
And with respect to the chair, it's with the air conditioner in that
Yeah, it's hard to hear
probably
sometimes.
couldn't hear.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but thank you, Cheryl.
So there was 3 that had in favor of saying it's not detrimental, and 2 that abstained. A quorum is 4 votes,
Right.
so it does not carry. So what Cheryl is pointing out is that we can reopen the item and ask that we continue this item, so that we could have further discussion as the commission, and if you would like to reassess any plans.
This is continuing to a new hearing or continue it today?
She can open it, they can open
You
it
can
now.
you can open it now based upon the vote.
Oh, that would be the thing to do if we can. I just don't want us to run too far over today.
Or we can have continue, so they can, the things that were addressed, put the other things in the application formally, and also try to address some of the
I think
things
they
that
were
we
in it
talked about.
formally, they just weren't
Right. They
on
weren't.
here.
That's right. yeah.
I think that was handled.
They,
So
they-
to address some of the
Administrative error.
concerns. So
Yeah, that was administrative error on my part. It is
Yeah,
actually in
it's
the
not theirs.
application.
yeah.
It's not for us to choose.
You want to
Yeah.
show it to Cheryl, the application, or was up
It
on
was up on.
the? Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it was up
Yeah.
there. I saw it was,
Yeah.
I just couldn't read it from
Yeah.
back there.
So can we move to have another vote?
Well, that's.
It would be a case of reopening the hearing, and I would be happy to, if that's correct, I would be
We'd like to
happy to
reopen the hearing
entertain a
and-
motion to reopen the hearing and,
I'll move that we
discuss.
reopen the hearing.
what, you have,
There's another alternative as well.
okay.
Correct me, Eric, if I'm wrong on open meeting law. And that is, are we still within the 45 days? We must be.
For this commission, it's 65 days.
I think, so we're still well within that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is to the chair's discretion. You can ask to put it on a future one, but without any penalties on application fee and that sort of thing. That is acceptable, right? I think we did that about 7 years ago.
I was not here for that.
Never heard that.
Okay, so we could reopen and
I would
continue.
rather.
I think it
yeah,
would be
I'd
more
rather-
straightforward to just go ahead and reopen the
Would you like
hearing
me to
now.
make a motion that we
Yes, please,
reopen?
ma'am.
Okay.
I would love it.
So,
Yeah, if you want to sit back down for.
I'll try and be
2 seconds, sorry.
expeditious here. I apologize. It's my error.
all right. I'd like to make a motion that we reopen the hearing with regard to Barker, Scott and Denise, 200 Parker Road, Osterville, Mac Bowman 6, parcel 041, built 1925, with regard to a partial demolition to demo the exterior as per the motion that had been made before, with all the relevant amendments and corrections.
Thank you. We have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor of reopening the hearing?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, thank you.
With apologies to our other applicants
Yeah,
who are waiting.
I'm anxious for all of your timelines, too, and I apologize as well. So, are we wanting to see if there would be any reconsideration of votes, or what is the proper next step? Sort of why we reopen?
I would probably ask that Jack and Cheryl, if you would like to voice any concerns.
I'm concerned about the chimney, and that if they could somehow try to find some way to further address that. And my personal preference would be to continue it, but also to remember I'm only one voice, one vote. I think overall the project is great, but I think that, I'm a little bit like Nancy on that, with the chimneys have such a, other Nancy, with the, they have such an important historical character, especially for a property of this age. So if there's some other way you could kind of address that. I think having that porch is lovely, but maybe somehow figure out a way for it. That's the problem I had with it. I felt that it was taking away from the historical.
When you took away the porch, could you put a chimney just on a one level of a bump out like that? I've never seen that.
Yeah, no, I would suggest more if we would do like a detail on the wall, like stone veneer on the wall in that area, if we want to go that way.
Yeah, bumped out, but not like that, but like that. Yeah.
Have to have three-dimensional depth to it to read like a chimney, at least where it's visible, and you could pretend it's disappeared into the porch beneath, I suppose, which would mean it would be hidden, but it also means it wouldn't interfere with your programming underneath. You could continue to do that. That's kind of a compromise, but it would maybe work.
Still kind of a chimney sticking up from the second
Not
floor?
above the porch. It would be just a detail on the wall that we would do like 3 sides of rocks, just so kind of mimic the first floor of the chimney.
And then I'm just,
Or have a
We're
false
really
chimney
talking about
above.
the second floor, aren't we?
Yeah, we're
Second
talking
floor
about-
level, where it would
I
be seen?
think they're more talking about the
I'm confused.
bump out from.
When you,
Oh, mine.
were you going to put a gas fireplace in here?
Another room.
Ventilate it.
But then the gas we would do directly to the wall with a vent, like a small vent, not with a detail on the wall.
So you weren't going to use the old chimney to ventilate a gas fireplace?
No.
No. The report
We got that.
says it's all damaged, the pipes inside the existing that we cannot use, so we have to do work there anyways.
Well, I've got a 100-year-old home, and what we did is we ventilated the gas fireplace through a chimney we couldn't burn. It didn't even have a flue liner in it.
But this is structurally, whether you have fumes coming out it or not, it's pulling the wall away.
Yeah, the chimney has a structural flaw.
But I guess I'm confused about what you were going to do to ventilate the gas fireplace up the side of the building.
it would be a little vent on the side of the house.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a horizontal
Right
vent.
through direct vent, yeah.
Yeah, just,
Yeah, so that,
Lost my track here.
that's okay. So the
Couldn't
chimney's
figure
not
out
really
how
part
in
of
the
that.
world we were going to have a chimney
Yeah.
and a fireplace with a vent. And nobody meant, it wasn't in the documents, so I didn't look that part of it up.
No,
That-
I understand.
Got blindsided here. All right, well, that makes it a more clear issue for me, is that you're
Yeah.
going to have a fireplace. Putting stone up one floor and not having anything above it starts to,
Above it will look weird.
Doesn't
That
work
won't,
for
that
me
won't
at
help
all.
anything. It needs to read like it's still a real chimney that you put an addition around the bottom of or something if you did anything like that. And even that's just a little bit unusual. So
So should we move to have another vote after?
we can move to have another vote. I think that's probably the best thing to do. You guys okay with that?
Well, I want to be clear on the chimney. What is the
what other things
proposal
were
now?
you concerned about?
Taking the whole chimney off.
Let's
It's in tight.
Well, the only way to leave the whole chimney is to rebuild it.
Yeah. Could rebuild it, but then you don't get the porch. But I'm thinking if you could relocate and use the same stones for a chimney, but
Our jurisdiction, though, is the demolition, and
Yeah.
I think they've
Yeah.
proved to us that that chimney has to be demolished.
oh, I agree it has to be come
Yeah.
down. Yeah.
And then we can
Have any
suggest
question about
that
chimney
they do
coming
something
down? The
else.
only question we had maybe outstanding
Yeah.
was whether it would be rebuilt in its present kind. And I think, personally, I don't think that sounds like a
It would be
practical
mean
approach
to
in
the
this case.
house to
Yeah.
say that chimney has to stay there.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
So we get another vote.
yep, all right.
We can move to another vote.
So pull up the same,
Sorry, Robert, do you want to read that in again, please?
Good job first time.
with us, appreciate
all
it.
right.
Thank you.
That's all right.
Okay.
One of those things.
This is the motion for Barker, Scott, and Denise, 200 Parker Road in Osterville, map 116, parcel 041, built 1925. Partial demolition, demo exterior window and walls to include a one-car garage with master bedroom and bathroom above it. Also includes to replace the windows, add 10 feet to the living room and a deck above, demolition of the existing chimney, and veneer skirt for the foundation.
I'll second that.
So motion one, I move after review and consideration of public testimony, the application and associated materials, the significant building, 200 Parker Road, Osterville, is a preferably preserved significant building.
And I'll second that, finally.
Once again, an aye vote would impose an 18-month delay, a nay vote will not impose an 18-month delay. Nancy?
Nay.
Carol?
No, wait a minute, aren't we doing the first step?
We're doing the first step.
Yeah. Oh, aye.
No?
No, you
We've
wanted
been
the
here too
nay.
long.
I think-
Wait a minute, what?
Nay
Right.
does not impose an 18-month delay, Nancy.
Nay does not impose an 18-month delay.
Yes,
And I-
okay, so I said it, okay,
So you're saying
You
nay?
were good.
yeah, nay.
Okay.
And we're wondering how Cheryl's feeling.
You're going to use the stones, right? For
Yes,
around the skirt.
around the foundation skirt.
I'll agree to it. You went to the trouble of getting there with the service.
In other words,
yeah.
nay.
Yes.
Nay.
Thank you. Barbara?
Nay.
Robert? Nay. Awesome. And then the final motion.
If motion one fails with a nay vote, I move that in accordance with section 112-3F, the Barnstable Historical Commission determines that the partial demolition of the building located 200 Parker Road, Osterville, is not detrimental to the historical, cultural, and architectural heritage or resources of the town.
I'll second that.
Thank you. An aye vote determines that the partial demolition of the single-family structure is not detrimental. No demolition delay will be imposed. Nancy?
Aye.
Cheryl? Thank you. Jack? Aye. Barbara?
Also, I.
Robert? Aye.
With us.
It's all right, thank you.
Sometimes that's how that works. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
All righty. Let me see if I can get us on into this next couple of hearings here so we don't keep you here all night.
Yeah. We got three.
We do, we do.
Yeah.
So nominee trust services, 819 South Main Street, Centerville, map 185, parcel 015. Built, it doesn't say when. That's okay. I'm just going to leave it there because I'm reading what's in front of me. Aye. Partial demolition, demo existing copper-clad chimney, roof to be patched with the slate tiles to match existing. Welcome back. Thank you for coming back.
I
Thank
do
you for being
remember this.
patient.
Built 1920.
I beg your pardon?
1920.
Oh, thank
Year
you.
built.
1920. I was just going to take a wild guess, but I knew we'd find out. So the infamous copper-clad chimney returns.
It does, yeah. It's, well, it's still standing. I don't know if it may fall down before we get it clarified. But we did have a chance to do some more exploratory work since the last hearing. We had a local mason who's been doing it for 50 years, assess the structural integrity of what's there, and then our builder, started to really assess why the copper was put there in the first place. It seemed like it was sort of a Band-Aid on top of a Band-Aid, and certainly not original to the structure. But the copper itself is failing. The ceiling in the second floor has been patched several times. It continues to crack. And it just seems like the only way to properly either one, waterproof what was there would be to remove the chimney. But two, the chimney structure itself, where the actual fireplace is in relation to where the chimney comes out of the roof, is several feet apart. And I submitted, I believe, as part of the application, an email from the mason, which I have, and I can read and
Yeah, if you just
resubmit.
want to read it into the record, please.
Sure. But I think that's the bigger concern, just the safety of what's there and how it was originally built, which you're not new to. So this is from Conrad Langeth of DBA Langeth Masonry, established in 1981. The copper cladding is a last resort fix to a water problem, and there's water damage evident in the attic. My biggest concern with the chimney is the 3+ foot cantilever to the left between the third floor and the attic. There's no sign of any corbelling and no obvious structural support except interior walls. And the cantilever is multiples of what current building codes would allow, which is 6 inches per story. To accomplish this cantilevering, the flue piping has been angled steeply off vertical and had a negative effect on the draw of the first floor fireplace. The whole roof structure of the chimney very likely settled and continues to, which would explain the ongoing water problems and the need to clad the whole thing in copper, a last gasp attempt, obviously. There's a substantial chance that the whole roof section of the chimney could collapse, which would cause catastrophic damage to the property and endanger people. I give this chimney a failing grade and think it should be removed properly. So what this note leads me to believe is one, the challenge of, like I said earlier, waterproofing it. But now we're doing work on a chimney itself that is potentially dangerous. So how, where do you stop? And so I guess that's sort of the practical conversation, the aesthetic conversation, which I know the board maybe not doesn't get into, but
Part of the aesthetic, though, is that the house was not designed with that chimney.
right, it wasn't there. And I can't,
Can
it's
I-
not a downgrade.
Very
Please,
easy.
Please. Yes. Somebody.
Could I suggest that, is there anyone from the public who would like to speak to this subject? And say simply, commissioners, how do you feel about this?
Oh, we have to close the hearing? No? Oh, yes.
So,
I don't know that we actually opened.
we didn't
public
actually
hearing.
open, so if you want me to go
I thought
through,
you did.
I can go through the formalities of procedure.
That's
Would
all
some-
right.
You know where I'm going, I'm
I
just
know
trying to
where
get
you're
us to the end of the
going.
day, and I don't think that this is going to be a tall
I think it would
climb.
be just ask if anyone has a problem with going
Yeah,
further.
I think we're good. If you don't have any comments, my comment is, I think, in honor of Nancy Clark, we should remember how much she admired the copper cladding, but I get it, and we all kind of instinctively knew there was something not quite right about it, and George, channeling him for the moment, and I and several of you were all saying, because it's not right.
I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. So, could we go straight to a motion then for?
Sure.
Can I ask one question on that?
Sure, yeah. Absolutely, Jack.
What are you going to do with it? You got to take it clear out, corbel,
says on here-
everything right down to the
How
ground?
far down? Well, I think we would take it down to the point where before the cantilever would start.
And just leave it?
It just,
Leave it buried? It's,
Yeah, close off the firebox, pour that solid and close so no one could ever obviously reuse it. just make sure it's structurally sound internally.
Well, with a cantilever like that, you have to take it to where it isn't cantilevered anymore,
That's
right?
right.
Right, you'll bring it back to that original before it shifts.
Yeah.
Get the vertical.
Yeah, so
Oh,
there's
yeah,
certainly some interior surgery, but it's not like we're,
Yeah, he might have a hard time getting to that cantilever.
I'm strong, I don't touch.
That's a great answer.
Go ahead and make that motion
Thank you
on that.
very
We
much,
ready?
Cheryl. Yes, I
Okay.
appreciate it.
So, with regard to nominee trust services, 819 South Main Street, Centerville, map 185, parcel 015, built. Oh, it doesn't.
1920.
1920. With regard to a partial demolition, demo existing copper-clad chimney, roof to be patched with slate tiles to match the existing. Motion 1. I move that after review and consideration of public testimony, the application and associated materials, a significant building at 819 South Main Street, Centerville, is a preferably preserved significant building.
Have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. An aye vote will impose an 18-month delay. A nay vote will not impose an 18-month delay. Nancy?
Nay.
Cheryl? Jack?
Nay.
Barbara? Robert? Nay.
All right. So I move that in accordance with Section 112-3F, the Barnstable Historical Commission determines that the partial demolition of the building located at 819 South Main Street, Centerville, is not detrimental to the historical, cultural, and architectural heritage or resources of the town.
Second.
Thank you. An aye vote determines that the partial demolition of a single-family structure is not detrimental. No demolition delay would be imposed. Nancy?
Aye.
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 Good.
Thank you very much. You're awesome. Appreciate it.
Nancy fought hard for that one.
Yeah. Okay. Christine and John, Ambrosia, 23 Bacon Lane, the patient people.
Did you bring the pizza?
Patient people.
It's getting to be like that, isn't it?
Centerville, map 207, parcel 018, built 1925, partial demolition, demo existing sunroom, and add new addition, replace railing on balcony. Hello again, and thank you. And as I mentioned to these nice people when they first arrived, I was confronting the, well, would they really need to come back in or wouldn't they kind of thing, and I explained, and I wanted the other commissioners to hear this, I thought, it's a different project than the one you had before. It's, you know, up or down, it's not my question, it's different. 2 years have passed, and so the original findings have technically expired, and I'm a little new to the game, as some of you may already have been able to figure out today, and I want to make sure that we have as much due process and public input as we can on these things, so that's my rationale, and maybe in a few months I wouldn't have dragged you in, but right now I did, so thank you again, and have a shot at it.
Okay. So this is a home that has been in our family for 40 years. This is our third time in front of the commission, and I will say we're happy where we are right now. So due in part to what this commission told us a few years back. But now, and the ask has diminished, I think, at each visit, and hopefully you'll agree with me there. So the entire home, we've been restoring everything there that's not red over the last year. And our end game is a first floor bedroom and with a bathroom and closet. And this structure in red is what we call the sunroom. It isn't original to the house. I'm not sure when it was put on there, and it's really not well constructed in the sense of its stability. It's just a couple of inches off the ground, kind of propped up with bricks and cement blocks, and has a significant, that's where I work, so a significant tilt to the room itself, and the door and the windows don't close properly. And anyways, what we would like to do is demo that sunroom and then replace it with a very similar structure. That's roughly 14 by 14, and the intention is to come in with a 10 by 11 room, we'll call it a connector office. Well, that's the basement, so if we go
Yeah, I was just trying to get to the elevation so that they can see the exterior. There we go.
That's how it'll look from the backyard. And so that two-window structure, we'll call that connector, there's 3 windows there now. Otherwise, it's going to look identical from that elevation. So everything there to the right, that's a one-story addition with a lofted roof, and we're sticking with the red cedar roof and white cedar shingles and copper gutters. And you mentioned you like old, so do we. We're embracing it, and so we want this to look like it's always been there. And to get to that, we need to get by this sunroom. Really, every scenario in the past, we were looking to have that removed. At one time, we were going to disassemble and reassemble, and the contractor that was going to do that called that room mush, and that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but there's really not much to save there. And so what's interesting is this line right here, we're looking straight at the Congregation Church, and that was the intent. We're told the way the home was built. So Bacon Lane, it's perpendicular to Bacon Lane. So you really don't see this as you come down the lane. Just really one end of the property as you're approaching it, you can see this structure. The other thing is on the front of the home right now, that sunroom is one line continuously across. It looks a little awkward to me. It doesn't step in after the main house ends. So we're going to step it in and then continue with that railing above, and then put this addition on, again, mimicking the lines of the existing house. And just one thing to add, that the bulkhead is shown in the front of the house. We have since moved it to it'll be facing the backyard, so on the furthest away. The bulkhead, so this will have a full basement. The bedroom part will, anyways, and that would really constitute the only full basement in our home. But we'll get that bulkhead moved around the corner.
The elevation of the addition is lower than the main house by a little bit.
Yeah.
It looks I can see
The grade goes away, right? Yeah. So the bulkhead would be under the window on the right. Yeah, right in there. There's a little bit of brick showing in the original foundation in terms of a facade, and that's what we'll do right there as well.
I do want to open a public hearing for this because I know there's a public comment that we have in writing, and I think it should be read into the record, and it seems the best way to do it. So would someone move to open the public hearing?
Motion to open public comment.
I'll second it.
Thank you very much. All in favor of opening a public hearing?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. We're in public hearing. Can you read that to us?
Yeah,
Ross?
it
That
was
would be
just
lovely.
submitted yesterday, so I got it on there today. But it was submitted by Miss, I don't know how to say her last name.
Oh, yeah.
Dillenseger? Dillenseger?
That's a great job,
She noted, "Dear members of the commission, I am writing in warm support of John and Christine D'Ambrosio's proposal at 43 Bacon Lane, Centerville, map 207, parcel 018, to demo the existing sunroom, add a new addition, and replace the balcony railing. We live directly opposite to their house on Bacon Lane. They have shared their proposed plans with us. Their attention to details, to the character of the house, and to the preservation of the neighborhood is astounding."
It's hard to get better letters than that, by the way, guys. Just my
Pierre
thought.
actually lives in the Reverend Beacon's house on the walk.
Any other members of the public want to speak to this or anything going on? Okay. Thank you. Yeah, all right. Could we have a motion to close? Could we have a motion to close the public
Motion to
hearing?
close public hearing.
Second?
Second.
We're closing the public hearing?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's closed. Move to a vote for,
Or any
discussion on that
discussion?
first?
Yeah.
Oh, well, if you'd like to discuss it, sure.
I think it's,
Of course,
I think
is
it's
the
wonderful.
answer.
I think it's very nice. Can I just clarify the materials for the railing? The railing, the materials?
So the railing actually isn't that old. It was put on around 2005 on the front of the house, in the back, but at the front there that we're looking at from that elevation, it's in kind of, it's wobbly and disrepair. So we're going to just replace it with a better railing, and the facade underneath it, or the fascia underneath it, is kind of sagging, and we're just going to clean that all up.
And the materials on that?
Oh, the material. I believe it's Intex, not I believe, it's Intex.
The synthetic material, yeah.
Intex, and that'll be the part that's in between the two sections of the house? Is that going to be the same?
Yep.
Okay.
We'll have that as well.
I just wanted to check we didn't have a mix match. I think it's a lovely proposal.
Thank you. Thank you.
I felt very positive about this to begin with personally. That's why I was sort of on the fence about where we would go with dragging you in or not, but here we are. So, are we okay with?
I was waiting for
thank
that.
you.
I really
No,
was.
I agree. So these things are important, and it's wonderful. Somebody wish to read the motion then?
I will be happily do that.
Thank you very much, Cheryl.
D'Ambrosia, John and Christine, 43 Bacon Lane, Centerville, map 207, parcel 018, built 1925. With regard to a partial demolition, demo existing sunroom and add a new addition, replace railing on the balcony. Motion 1, I move that after review and consideration of the public testimony, the application, associated materials, the significant building at 43 Bacon Lane, Centerville is a preferably preserved significant building.
I'll second that.
Thank you. An aye vote will impose an 18-month delay. A nay vote will not impose an 18-month delay. Nancy?
Nay.
Cheryl? Jack?
Nay.
Barbara?
Nay.
Robert? Nay. Moving on.
Did you vote as well?
I did.
Okay.
Yes.
So I move that in accordance with Section 112-3F, the Barnstable Historical Commission determines that the partial demolition of the building located at 43 Bacon Lane, Centerville, is not detrimental to the historical, cultural, and agricultural heritage or resources of the town. You're up, Nancy.
Oh, I second that.
Thank you. An aye vote determines that the partial demolition of the single-family structure is not detrimental. No demolition delay will be imposed. Nancy Shoemaker.
Aye.
Cheryl Powell. Jack Kay.
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase.
Aye.
Robert Frazee. Aye.
Okay.
Thank
you're
you.
done.
And congratulations again for
Thank you for your patience.
hanging in there.
Yeah, thank you for your patience, really.
And the most extreme thanks for the patience goes to
Yes.
Good job. It's beautiful. Good luck with that.
We'll keep him here for an hour now.
Last as always.
Well, last is always last. There's not too much more we can really say about it. I hope you
My
didn't,
life.
I hope you didn't age too much while you were waiting.
No. I will stop. Paul Mazzola, GCI Builders. I'm representing the Hoffmans.
Thank you.
Next one.
Got it.
Bob, do you just want to read in the item?
Yes, absolutely.
begin?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Glenn and Laura Huffman, trustees, 78 West Bay Road, Osterville, map 117, parcel 120, built 1885. Partial demolition, demo attached garage, and rebuild using the same footprint. You're on, sir.
Of course, I have no PowerPoint, no plans or anything. I didn't think I was going to get involved in the historic because of the date of the garage. I didn't think because I was.
I understand.
But that's fine.
Well, I would just want to explain to you, I'm partly at fault for that. The Form B for this particular homestead house, former property up front, was filed many years ago by a colleague of mine, and it's someone who'd actually listed it as potential for National Register listing. It kind of elevates the property value of significance for a commission, and we consulted a little about it, two commissioners, to make sure.
Yeah,
So, just
the
to
house,
answer-
the
I
house
get your
itself,
point.
it's an old school gambrel, more of a working man's gambrel, not like the big ones you've been seeing. And over time, they put the addition in the middle, and then the garage. The garage was built in '58, and as you can see, the pitch. Basically, what they want to do is they want to get a playroom up there. So the plan I drew, it's just pretty much a dormer on both sides. I don't like putting a gambrel right up against another gambrel. They never did that back in the day. Usually, the additions had a gable or what have you. But the main problem we had was the foundation was put in 58, I think it was done by the letter. It was done by the owner, his brother, his cousins. They dug a hole in the sand, and they put 3 blocks in. You know, back when you could do whatever you wanted on your property. Pretty much. Put 3 blocks and built it, and it's lasted. But now the foundation has got, vertical structural cracks in all the corners. It's shot. So we can't do any renovations to it. So that's why I want to tear it down, exact same footprint, and actually bring it more to character of the house in the front. Now, granted, if it was a gambrel, it would match, but that's just not the way I draw or design. I think it'd be too much for the house myself, because it's not a big body gambrel like an old Cape Cod. It's a small body gambrel. So this is what we came up with. This is what they want. All we're doing is putting a playroom upstairs. Of course, the kids are getting married now. They're having grandkids, and she wants to find a place for them to play. So this is what we got. That's all I got.
I would ask if there's anyone from the public who'd like to speak, but I know everybody's in here, so it's kind of simple.
Last as always.
Commissioners, what are your thoughts?
Just a question, was it a 2-car garage?
Yeah, it's basically a 2-car garage. I'm going to reuse this same style door.
Now I can see
Yeah,
it.
yeah. But see the power lead coming in the front. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to put that on the ground.
Good for you.
And, I mean, it really is a pretty focal corner in Austinville.
It's a very important corner.
You don't realize.
I know right where
and,
it is.
And
yeah.
we did some renovations. We replaced windows, did some other stuff on it a few years back. Renovated the front porch. We didn't change any roof or anything like that. But the old screens they put in back in the 70s, we got rid of it, brought it back to what it looked like when they built it. It's a great old house.
The property's been well looked after for
It's been in the family
forever.
too. They bought it from their parents.
I've been driving by it for 50 years.
Yeah.
Person.
The library?
It's right behind the
Behind the
library.
library.
Yep, exactly. Which is
Step
part
into
of
a library
why it's an important location, because the world is there, and
Really
you know,
is.
you can't hide from that.
I think it looks great.
Yeah, it's a hell of a lot better than what you want to demolish.
Well, I think we're all going to think that. I have a couple of questions for you. One is not a big deal, but I'd love to know, relative to the gambrel existing building to the left, how are the relative heights? Is this taller than the house?
The goal I have is to keep, I mean, on everything we do, you got to keep it lower than the main ridge
I
line.
hope so. That
And the only thing
was
that's
talking
helping me
earlier.
out is if you look at the house, I've got a stretch.
Yep.
From the main to the back. It's like the cupola might not go on. This is a quick
I could be
scratch.
picky. Is the cupola taller than the chimney on, you know where I'm going? It's
I was
to try and keep
I was
it
actually thinking of doing
subordinate.
a fieldstone cupola and make you happy if that
Wow.
would work. You know, I'll run it right down the front of the garage if you guys want. You know what I mean?
You've been listening closely, I can tell. I
Going to be
deserve
lit?
that. That's okay.
Is it going to be lit? The cupola?
I don't know if they're actually going to do the cupola.
Oh, okay. I was just curious if it
Again,
did it, because I think
don't want it to overpower the house. When this goes together, and of course, again, I sketched this thing in half an hour. It's a quick sketch for her.
Okay.
it's a good sketch.
The pediments over the garage. We're going to keep it formed to the house. Lace the corners, and that pitch. I'm going to do everything I can to. It's actually a pretty rough drawing. I apologize for this. I'm actually going to try and bring that pitch down a little bit too.
Oh, I would like that. I was going to, so I'm sort of saving up my thoughts, but I don't have a good way to do that. I was thinking if the pitch were a little lower, you're not going to match the pitch of the house, obviously.
Well, you know what I
It's not gonna-
really love to do?
And could you step the wall in just a little bit?
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to
What I
say.
do on those,
Yeah.
I like to break this back.
Yeah.
So I can
That's okay.
I like this line hitting lower than the ridge line.
Yes.
Makes it more capable. We just did one on Bayview Road.
It would,
We did
that
the
would
same
help,
thing.
and
Yeah.
increasing the pitch slightly, stepping the sidewall back in from the sidewall
Yeah, I
below it
think-
just
yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Suddenly, it's very much less impactful. It looks a little less like you've pumped a lot of air into something that was flexible.
Yeah,
so you got
yeah. I mean, this
volume.
drawing actually.
It gives
It looks horrible. I
It gives it
apologize.
the credence of having been a
I would never have the face of the
Softens
dormer
it.
flush with the wall below. Never.
The dome.
The face of the dormer shouldn't be lined up with the wall.
Basically, again, it's a sketch. That roof line was going to go. Do I have a side view of the thing? No.
You have an end view, I don't think you have.
Yeah, see the
Oh,
roof
yeah, you
line.
do, I'm sorry.
See the
Yeah.
roof line goes across it.
Okay.
Well, that one
breaks
is
it.
step back.
No, it isn't. Basically.
Oh, what you
you're-
did is extended the roof out.
Extended
Well,
the
no,
roof,
just
but you kept the walls
normal
alive.
fascia soffit.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
the reason you keep that wall in there, you get an extra 2 or 3 feet of detail. But what he's saying, and what I think is right, is I drop that plate line a little bit, and I bring that rafter line down so the main ridge is like this. It's broken back. you know? And then the front won't look so strong.
Yeah.
I like it. So,
But all things considered, I always thought it was kind of an improvement on the garage that's been there anyway, because
Yeah, I mean, the garage, it was
pretty calm.
When it was built,
It did its job.
did its job for a lot of years.
motion. Would you like a motion on this?
I would love a motion on this.
Thank you.
All
Okay.
set? with it? Yeah, thank you.
And I really love the chimney.
Well, we want, right there in the
I'm being
middle.
facetious.
A chimney right up the middle, what do you
There
think?
you go. Okay, Hoffman,
Going veneer
Glenn and
all the way.
Laura, TRS.
Move the chimney.
78 West Bay Road, Osterville, map 117, parcel 120. Built 1885, partial demolition, demo attached garage, and rebuild using the same footprint. Also, as per after discussion, the pitch line, the ridge line, and the sidewall as per discussion.
Relax, we'll do the
Okay.
best we can.
I move that after review and consideration of public testimony, the application, associated materials, the significant building at 78 West Bay Road, Osterville, is a preferably preserved significant building.
I second that.
Aye vote would impose an 18-month delay. A nay vote will not impose an 18-month delay. Nancy?
Nay.
Cheryl?
Nay.
Jack?
You got it.
Brett?
Nay.
Robert? Nay. Moving on.
I move in accordance with Section 112-3F, the Barnstable Historical Commission determines that the partial demolition of the building located at 78 West Bay Road, Osterville, is not detrimental to the historical, cultural, and architectural heritage or resources of the town.
I second that.
I vote determines that the partial demolition of the single-family structure is not detrimental, no demolition delay imposed. Nancy? Aye. Cheryl? Aye. Jack?
Oh, aye.
Giving a heart attack. Barbara?
Aye.
Robert? Aye. Great.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Very, very nice
Hanging
seeing you
in
guys.
there. It's always
and
interesting.
I had a check for you.
That's probably a good thing,
Thought I
too.
lost it.
Sounds like you checked for a bribe here.
Thank you.
No, not hardly.
Oh.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Ladies
Take
and
care.
Drive carefully.
Maybe.
And again, thank you for your patience.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. So,
Okay.
do we have other business to attend to that we should attend to?
I have discussion of upcoming
Okay.
Historical events open to the public.
Barnstable Historical Society is going to have Dan Zotto. He is incredible archaeologist. He's so giving of his time. The future of history on the Cape is in good hands if he's part of it. He's just a wonderful, educated person. Anyway, he's going to be at the Finney Jones House across from Sturgis Library, Saturday, September 21st at 2 p.m. So I'll pass
Nice.
that around.
Great.
Sure.
Anybody else have anything along those lines? Any other announcements or anything of that sort? We don't have any minutes to approve of. You want to discuss some of the things that are here briefly, or just
so
announce them?
He is secretary.
Yes, that is one of the things, obviously not anticipated, so it's not on this agenda.
Right.
If anyone is interested in clerk, if we could have nominations at our next meeting, that would be great for the clerk position. Other than that, I had two other things on there that Bob had requested that I add on to here. I did send it out to the Historical Commission. Did everyone get the email regarding the updates from MHC?
Yes.
And I would definitely love to hear this commission's thoughts on the Massachusetts State Historic Preservation Plan, the 2018 to 2022. They are accepting public comment until September 30th, 2024. So if you want to review to discuss at our next meeting at September 17th, we can formulate a response or a public comment for them regarding that if you would like to.
It's certainly worth trying to read. It's a thick document usually, and you might have to assign yourself some sleep time to get through it. But it's important, and it's guidance for what all of the commissions in the state of Massachusetts do going forward. So you may find something that catches your fancy.
Yeah, but we can formulate something from the commission as a whole to submit to MHC for the public comment, if that's what you would like to do. But I'd like to continue that to our next meeting.
Yep.
Just as a heads up, just take a look at that document, see if you can formulate any thoughts to bring to the next meetings for that purpose. The other one was the MHC virtual workshops available this fall. So if you're interested in any of those, they're all free.
Yeah, I did a few of those a year or two ago, and they're about an hour long. They produce slides and reviews and Q&A, and the Q&A comes back to you if you want to see it, so it's pretty productive. It's run by MHC staff.
And if anyone needs me to resend that email to them, I can do that. So just reach out and ask
Yeah,
me
do
for it.
send it to all of us. Why not? Just
Erica, could you review what the duties of the secretary clerk are for the commission?
Yeah, so the clerk, normally Marilyn would edit the minutes, just going back through, making sure that I have A, no spelling errors, it happens, and B, she would just go over and make sure that the motions were correct and make sure that I put in the minutes that the votes are correct, because obviously that is the meat of the meetings, as well as discussion items. If I miss something, I typically go back, re-listen to the meeting and rewatch the meeting as I do my minutes. But if there's something particular in the summary that, you know, she felt was important that I had missed, she would note that as well for me to put in before it's approved by the commission.
And both she and you did a very good job on that.
Thank you.
Made a good team on it.
I appreciate
I
that.
agree
Marilyn
with that.
was amazing corresponding with me about the minutes, and I really appreciated all her input for them.
She's an amazing
Did a lot
person.
more than a lot of people realize, I think, on a day-to-day basis. I mean, she
and she
Kinda kept her
didn't
head
have
down
to
and did it at home.
broadcast about it. It
No, she
wasn't
never did.
ego for her, it was the mission.
Yep.
It's true.
Well, it was a love for her, a passion. It was a
You
passion.
could tell. That's a
Yeah.
nice comment. It's so
Yeah.
true.
She took a lot of pride in her public service, especially for this commission.
And rightly
And
so.
we all know there's a service for George
Friday,
Thursday.
on Thursday.
9 to 1. 9
August.
to 11 is at the
Yep.
funeral.
This Thursday, August 22nd, from
Thank
9
you.
to 11. It is at the
Funeral Home, 154 Mass 6
The one across
Sandwich.
from the miniature golf that has the sign that I adore. It says funeral/golf parking. I mean, when have you seen?
I'm expecting to see his Mustang there.
It is very much there.
It just would seem right.
Where is it again?
On
154 Mass 6 Sandwich. I think it means 6A probably, because,
in Sandwich.
Yeah.
You know where there's a big coffee shop that got put in a few years ago from
154 6A?
if you put in
164.
Nickerson-Born Funeral Home Sandwich, you're almost certain to grab the
It's
address
on the,
for it.
on the south side of
And
6A.
and so visiting hours are 9 to 11, and that will be followed by a funeral mass at St. Peter's in
Miniature
Osterville.
golf will help you know you're there.
That's important.
Can I add one more thing? And this could go on forever, so I
Uh-oh.
do not know.
Be very careful. They're going to throw us out.
I would love to have another update on the former Tracer Museum leftovers. And I know you know, can you maybe arrange for us to have something next?
Yes,
month?
next meeting I will have something arranged. Kate did sit down with procurement and assessment, asset management. Ugh. And she did go over next steps with them, so I'm expecting an update from her. And once I have that, I will schedule that for our next meeting.
We've already found two paintings from forget whether it was the Crosby family or the Crocker family, that were given to Barnstable Historical Society. And even the town is admitting that, yes, why they weren't given to them for these, 20 years now?
I hear you. I was there for a lot of that,
They're
too.
not out yet, and I understand they're in part of the process, so, but
Yeah, I want us-
that's the kind of thing that makes you go,
I want us to
think
avoid,
of all that. And there's a judge apparently up there that should be taken care of. And
I agree with you, but
But I was very
I want to stay
impressed
on the
with-
positive tack with all of that, because
Yeah.
we're getting there,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and the woman we met with, who was doing the
Yes.
inventory, was very caring, knowledgeable. Yeah,
No
yeah,
question.
so that's good.
Could we entertain a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Care to oppose? Thank you.
Right.
Thank you very, very much, you guys. Thank you for